Hello everyone, this is Dave here with some exciting news. That is our 500th episode is on sale now. Next year, Saturday, April 26th, we're going to do a huge show live at the Capitol Theatre, and I'm amazed to say that in a few short days, we're already at almost 50% capacity. Whoa! People have told us they're coming in from interstate, even from overseas to come to the show, which is so exciting. We won't let you down. We're going to put on a great 90-minute show with lots of special guests from across the history of the podcast. It's going to be awesome. And you can get tickets right now at dogoonpod.com. That's Saturday, April 26th in Melbourne for the 500th episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Jess Perkins and, of course, Matt Stewart.
Whoa!
Whoa, hey Dave, it's so good to be here in the year 2025.
Yes, Happy New Year!
Oh I'm still drunk.
Oh,
Woo!
what were you drinking last night?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sambuca, though, mainly. I can smell it.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you. I love the smell of Sambuca.
Yeah.
In the morning.
So yeah, let's party. Let's do a podcast.
Woohoo!
So good.
That's just acting.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't drink Sambuca last night?
Nah.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Dave, this is an acting. You and I are going to be doing our shows at Super Studios on the 17th
Yes, it's actually
January.
my New Year's resolution to do a stand-up show with you and not cancel it.
Yeah.
Ooh, why would you jinx
I'm
yourself?
gonna do that. Sadly, due to illness in the crew, we had to postpone the recording at the end of last year, but now we've got the new date, Friday, January 17, live at Stupid Old Studios. It's me first, then we have a little break, then it's Matt second, and before, during, and possibly after, the good people at Bod Riggy will be slinging up those delicious beers, those craft beers they have. I'll have a specky juice, please.
Oh, yeah. Can I have a cosmic microwave, please?
Oh my goodness.
Their beers are to die for.
I'd die for those.
I'd die for those beers. But the comedy will also be very good.
To die for.
To die for.
To laugh for. And Jess is going to be able to come. That's the benefit of the delay.
Yeah.
She couldn't come the other time and now she had no excuse.
Yeah, now I got no excuse. Unless something better comes up in the next few weeks, which, God, fingers and toes across.
Impossible.
Friends.
That couldn't happen.
Good luck.
No.
Finding something better than this.
Yeah. Imagine everyone's year's going to peak on January 17.
And we're also doing a 500th episode.
Yes!
Yeah, big year for us.
Oh my gosh, that's April the 26th, a big Saturday night in Melbourne at the Capitol Theatre, a proper lovely theatre.
It's a beautiful theatre. It's a really cool room. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be so fun.
So fun. And it's already over half sold out, which is wild.
Yeah.
And we recorded this a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
so please get on it.
If this was, if not one more ticket was bought, I think this would be the biggest show we've done in Melbourne anyway, just about.
Yeah, I think
Getting
so.
close.
Yeah, absolutely, which is insane and so exciting.
Yeah, so
yeah, come along to
tickets
that.
available for both the stand-up and also our 500th episode at dogoonpod.com. Get on it. Love to see you at both of those.
Get on it.
Get on it.
May I explain how this show works?
That'd be so good if you
Just
could.
because, it's a new year, new us. We've actually changed the format of the podcast dramatically.
Great.
And I'm going to explain it now.
Oh,
No one told me yet.
We
so I'm
pod
really
to the
excited.
death. One of the three of us researches a topic, often suggested by listeners, often voted on by listeners. They live it, they learn it, they love it, and they bring it back to the other two who listen very politely, don't interrupt, never sass them, and don't go on dogshit riffs and tangents.
Great.
And we always get on this topic with a question. Dave, to bring in 2025, everyone's favourite report giver kicks off the year. It is your turn. Do you have a question to get us onto the topic?
I do have a question, and that question is, according to Guinness World Records, the good people at Guinness, who is the most portrayed literary character on film?
On
Ooh.
film.
On film.
Okay.
Jesus.
Oh, that's not bad. Is it a literary character?
Yeah, I think that, of course, being a real person
Oh.
and the biography being written about him doesn't count.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that Jesus
on
would have been in
film.
more, probably. Yes, I've got the list here. Jesus has been portrayed more. But this is a very famous character we've all heard of, started out in a book and has been in a bunch of
Peter
movies
Pan.
since. No, it's not a bad guess, though.
Frankenstein's monster.
You are getting very close.
Oh.
Or Dracula.
It's Dracula! Well done. Dracula has been in 272 movies as of March 2012, so the number's only gone up since they've
Oh, shit.
listed that record.
He's as real as Jesus, though, isn't he? Like Vlad the Impaler? We've already done the...
True.
Well, we've already done an episode on Vlad the Impaler.
My backup question was going to be, what character connects previous topics? Christopher Lee, Vlad the Impaler, the New England Vampire Panic, and The Year Without Summer.
Whoa.
That's Dracula. Across those things. But what about... the devil is the most portrayed character in 849 films as of March 2012.
Ah, yeah.
The second most common screen character is Santa Claus, 819.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of these as literary characters.
Oh, no, sorry. That's why Dracula's literary.
Oh, gotcha.
He's in his own category because otherwise you wouldn't. He'd be like top 10. But
Yeah.
Then there's the Grim Reaper, then Jesus Christ, and God is fifth.
Wow, Jesus beats God.
Well, no. Dave doesn't realise this because he didn't grow up Catholic,
Yeah,
but
it's
God
true.
and Jesus are one and the same. So I think put their numbers together, Dave, and where do they come out?
Number one.
Still second to the devil.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Wow.
But yeah, Dracula's the most...
Doesn't that say something about society today?
It really does. It really does. Dracula's the most portrayed literary character. Sherlock Holmes is second.
I was going to say Sherlock
Yeah.
Holmes. That was one of my guess.
Ooh, Waldo.
Yeah.
So many movies and
Yeah.
classic TV shows.
Yeah. Well, every time he appears on his TV show, does that count as an
Actually,
appearance?
That's pretty good.
We'll have to write to the good people at Guinness. I'll let you know.
Say, I'd double check a few things, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know how thorough your research is.
Yeah. Because then, like Poirot, so many episodes.
So many. Like, I guess like Homer Simpson or something.
Yeah.
Or like someone from like Holby City or EastEnders or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that's
yeah.
been on for 38 years.
But are they literary characters?
No.
In
Oh,
my heart.
in your heart.
Oh.
So we're talking about Dracula.
Yes, this topic's been suggested by only one person in the hat, Adam Earl from Leeds in England. But the reason I picked it is my most recent book cheat, episodes 106 and 107. The second part came out yesterday,
Whoa.
December 31st, are on Dracula. And I told Cass Page and Jackson Bailey all about the plot. And I sort of got thinking about it, started looking into why the character of Dracula is so famous and ingrained in popular culture. Like if I said, think of a vampire, nearly everyone thinks of Dracula.
Yeah,
And
I
was
think of
like,
Edward Cullen, but yeah,
I think of Nosferatu.
which is
Dracula.
Dracula, or a rip-off of, which we'll find out.
Yeah.
Oh, which way?
Well, we'll find out. So this basically is like similar to the first episode we ever did. Why is the Mona Lisa so famous? Why is Dracula so famous?
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Ooh.
Wait, you haven't found out yet?
Oh my God, Dave.
That was you're meant to do that
Oh,
first.
I've got 18 tabs open. I'm sure the answer's here somewhere.
We've been doing this for coming up to 10 years now.
Yeah, but new format, you said. We don't research anymore.
Oh, man.
We come in and speculate.
That would save a lot of
I
time.
actually don't hate that.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Why do you think Dracula's so famous? So do you know the author Bram Stoker?
Yeah, I do, personally. Great guy.
Great guy.
Sends a beautiful Christmas card every
Really
year.
good hang.
Not a lot of Brams around anymore.
Not enough Brams, dare I say.
If you were, so his full name is Abraham Stoker.
Oh.
Would you go Abe or Bram or,
Bram's not even in there.
No.
Hey, bruh.
Ham's in there?
Ham. Yeah, he's ham or brah. Braham.
Bruh.
I'd
What's
go
up,
Abe.
Braham? Abe. Honest Abe.
Probably.
Yeah. Hammy. Pigsy. Piggy. Porker. Porky.
Big Porker.
Big
Porky.
Porker, the Porker. Porker.
Yeah. If my name was Abraham, I'd go by Porky.
Porky.
To
yeah.
answer your question.
Thank you so much. Jackson Bailey accidentally kept calling him Bam Stroker, which, like, when editing, listening back, I was like, that sounds like a porn star.
Yeah. I like it.
So Bram, Porky, Bam, whatever you want to call him. He was born on November the 8th, 1847 in Clontarf, then a popular holiday resort on the outskirts of Dublin in Ireland. A park opposite the house he was born in is now called Bram Stoker Park.
I didn't know he was Irish.
Yes.
Huh.
There you go.
You know I love Ireland. I love that place. The Emerald Isle.
Yeah, you do love it. I thought I'd win you over with that. He was the third of 7 children born to Abraham Stoker Sr., which is interesting. He got the junior, but he wasn't the first.
Yeah, 2 girls first, maybe.
No, he did have an older brother as
Right.
well. William.
Maybe William was born and the dad was like, Oh, no.
Not this one.
Don't worry about it. Well, I don't know. He's looking around the room. William. That'll do.
Yeah, he saw a piece of shit that had a name tag on it that
Yeah.
said William.
He said, perfect.
He said, there.
That'll do.
And he pointed at the baby and said, "That's you." So his father, Senior, was a civil servant who worked at Dublin Castle. And Charlotte Thornley Stoker was his mother. She was a descendant of a Protestant family from Western Ireland. And together they had 7 kids.
Too many.
His older brother, William Thornley Stoker, became a famous surgeon and a professor and was even made a baronet. It's quite a big deal. He was the more famous of the two in their lifetimes.
Huh.
But little Bram's legacy would probably surprise everyone, including him.
Oh, I kind of hate when they don't live through their own acclaim.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, you're saying something for dramatic effect there, and I was like, I hate that.
It's really grim.
It is. It's sad. They never know how influential on popular culture, how famous they are.
Yeah.
But he didn't. Anyway, young Bram was a very sickly child and was bedridden until the age of 7.
Right.
So very, very ill. There were times when he wasn't expected to live, and he was subjected to bloodletting and other medical cures of the time.
Bloodletting. Why did they think that was a good idea?
This kid has too much blood.
Get some of this blood out of him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. He's nice and pale now.
Yeah, which is that's what you
Perfect.
want.
Yeah.
Man, it's very vampiric though, isn't it?
Totally.
Oh.
And like, we're gonna part of the story, if you want to hear more about it, I was in Book Chat to go through the whole plot. But, you know,
Why didn't you invite us onto the book cheat? Look, it's the elephant in the room. I think everyone is wondering that. If you're going to tell 2 parts of one story, why have separate guests on each?
because Jackson Bailey 4 years ago said, hey, if you ever do Dracula, I want to be there.
So where is he now? Bring him in.
Come on in.
Why are you making him wait out there?
Oh, he's fallen over in the car park.
And we will not help.
We won't help him. Like, we will watch him on the camera. Look at him. Look at him flail.
Look at him flail. He's like a turtle on his back.
So, being confined for so many years, he spent much of this time watching the lives of family and neighbours from his bedroom window and listening to his mother's stories of Irish history and legend. Many of the stories were dark and gothic in nature and would have an influence on his future writing.
For a second, I almost thought you were going to say he spent a lot of time watching like TV. And then I remembered what kind of time we're talking about.
He spent 38 years watching Holby City and EastEnders back to back.
So he can't even watch TV. He's just got to watch family members and neighbours.
Yeah, out the window.
Ugh.
Or like when people walk past his bedroom door. Hey! Hey, come back.
What are you doing?
Oh.
What's that? What are you holding? Oh, cool.
And he's like, that gives me an idea for a story.
Yeah.
My favourite new trend of memes to hate are Gen X's posting photos of someone on a BMX bike and saying something like, wish we could send our kids back to 1985, wouldn't survive 5 minutes. I reckon send them back to Bram Stoker's time. Let their blood out. Let's really find out how tough you are.
Huh?
But it's so funny. No one could get through my childhood.
Yeah, like I did. What?
I reckon they probably could.
Heaps did.
Yeah.
What were you born
What are you talking about?
Were you born in the trenches of World War I or something? What are you talking
And
about?
kids today,
1985.
kids today do go outside.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's
relax.
Real crook nostalgia. I think nostalgia can be really good. Makes you feel nice and that whatever, but sometimes it just is unhelpful.
Mum used to kick us out the door after breakfast. We weren't allowed to come home till the sun went down. That sounds super unsafe.
Yeah.
They love they love saying, "Oh, we didn't come home till the streetlights go on."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
I remember doing that. It was okay, but it was like it was boring at times as well.
And we did some pretty dumb, maybe slightly dangerous stuff. It's all right. Relax. Anyway.
But the thing is, we didn't talk about it when pedophiles were in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You just had to avoid Mr. Collins's house.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Just
run past that spooky house.
Yeah, just ride your bike particularly quick past that weird house.
And if anything happens, just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't talk about it, but be home before the street lights.
So, he's in bed for the first 7 years, but he made a full recovery and grew into a strong young man standing at 6'2".
Whoa. Back
Tall.
then,
Yeah, it's a tall
gigantic.
guy. Big man.
Tall now, but you know what I mean. Like they were all small back then.
Yeah. Even more
from the bloodletting.
Yeah. Think about how big he could have been.
Yeah, he was. They probably he was going to be like 8 foot.
Yeah, he's going to be inconveniently tall.
Yeah, I think they actually did him a huge favor.
brought him
I
down.
take back what I said about bloodletting.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's great.
Bring it back.
I'm into it.
Even more amazingly, considering his bedridden start and the fact he nearly died as a kid, he became an incredible athlete and soccer player at Trinity College in Dublin, where as well as excelling academically, he collected prizes in shot put, weightlifting, high jump, long jump, gymnastics, and race walking.
Wow.
This guy could do it all.
He smashed it. According to the BramStokerEstate.com, he counted his recognition as Dublin University Athletic Sports Champion 1867 among his proudest collegiate achievements.
Wow. Much like Year 7 high jump champion for me.
Oh my gosh, well done.
Thank you so much. I'm sure I've only brought that up once a year.
Yeah, I feel like I usually ask you, are you flopping?
Yeah.
I always ask that.
This guy, he sounds to me kind of like a mix of you two.
Oh, that's interesting.
Early, sickly, bedridden, Dave. Athletic.
No, you give the vibe of
Yeah,
somebody who was...
okay, yeah.
I didn't know you back then, but were you not sick as a child a lot?
No, but I was terrible at athletic endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
Your esophagus stuff didn't mean you're in hospital all the time having your blood let?
Like, people didn't know about. I'm sure it would have been bloodlet if we diagnosed it before 24.
Yeah.
They were just thinking, look at this little wiener.
Wiener at the beach.
That was me. So that's my half, and Jess is the.
Well, Jess is the athletic one, but then the third half, of course, is you being a literary type.
Yeah.
Well, he also.
And me being a vampire.
Yeah, that's the fourth half.
Yeah. Oh, that's later. Spoilers.
He earned a degree in mathematics, graduating with honours, so he did very well academically at university.
Wow.
Like his father before him, he then began working as a civil servant at Dublin Castle. Ultimate Nepo baby stuff.
Yeah.
You know? You can't get... It's the people you know.
That is weird for a castle to work that way. I think generally most people who work in castles, they get their job through merit.
Yeah.
So...
For example, it was home to British royals in Ireland from the early 1800s to the early 1920s.
Yeah, British royals,
Exactly.
for example.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. That was his day job, but at night he began working as an unpaid theatre critic for the Dublin Evening Mail. And I love this line from his...
What? Why unpaid?
It's the arts, you know?
Well, to explain, maybe this explains it from his wiki page. Theatre critics were held in low esteem at the time, but Stoker attracted notice by the quality of his reviews.
Ah.
Right. Not good enough to be paid for, but
Oh, no. You
No.
wouldn't pay for
good
it.
enough to read.
And not good enough to be respected.
No.
Oh, no.
No, because theatre critics... Pugh.
I mean, I used to do CD and gig reviews for a website. I guess it was like that.
Were you paid?
No, unpaid. It was like, oh, you got to have the CD. You got to get tickets to a show.
Yeah. It's probably the same kind of
I
thing.
reckon it probably was that. It was like, hey, you get to go see Shakespeare tonight.
Yeah.
And he likes writing.
I was right about it.
And he's still pretty young, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's all about exposure.
First few years of him working his day job as well. In 1876, he wrote a favourable review of a production of Hamlet starring Henry Irving, who was a very famous English actor of the era who became the first actor to receive a knighthood.
Oh.
So Henry Irving.
Wow, that's become a lot more common, hasn't it?
It's really common.
At the time, it would have been like, well, we're giving a knighthood to an entertainer?
To an actor?
That's weird.
A lowly actor?
That'll never take off.
And now we're like, Sir Ian McKellen,
Yeah.
right this way.
Everyone who's ever been in a band in England is now a knight.
Yeah.
Irving was very impressed by Stoker's review of his performance of Hamlet, which he thought was insightful and even-handed, which I read between the lines as he just said, "You're awesome."
Yeah, it was nice to hear.
Very complimentary,
Complimentary.
yes. He invited Stoker to dinner and they struck up an influential friendship, but more on that later.
Ooh, bit of sizzle.
Yes. So he's working at the castle during the day, reviewing theatre at night, as well as writing his own short stories on the side. The London Society published his story called The Crystal Cup in 1872. In the story, a young artist is taken away from his wife and forced to create works of art for a king who wants to have a great feast in his castle. I didn't read it
What's
all.
that got to do with art?
Well,
Who wants to have a great feast? You got to decorate.
he makes a crystal cup,
Gotcha.
which is art, a piece of art.
Yes,
Gotcha.
it's got to make it nice for all the other
Honestly, for most of that, until the Great Feast, I was thinking how some people, and genuinely not me, play The Sims where they'll, I guess, make a sweatshop, a Sims sweatshop, and they'll just have people making art all day or making things and then selling it and making money off it.
Oh, they sell it like in the real world?
Nah. In the game.
In the game.
So you'll have your sim, but then you make all these other people, sometimes it's kids, and you put them in like a basement, and that's like a little sweatshop, and you don't work. Your sim doesn't work because these people are creating stuff that then you just sell.
Oh, right. But
Is
then,
this a possible thing in Sims?
Yeah.
but then is the point of it that they're in the basement making money, so you're upstairs, you can buy like the best fridge, the best
Yeah.
couch.
What a funny example of living decadently. You buy the best fridge, the best
The fanciest
couch.
fridge, a hot tub.
But is there not just a cheat code you can type in and you get all the money?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let those Sims go. Let them free.
Yeah, and that's why you don't get the Sims.
You don't get to make people suffer like Jess loves to.
I said it's not me. I don't do that.
I am the one who takes the pool ladder out of the pool.
Okay, so then you are half a step away from a sweatshop in the basement, and let's not pretend you're better than.
No, I let them die with dignity.
It's waving for help. Anyway, please continue.
So that's the Crystal Cup. It's his first published work. In 1878, Stoker married Florence Belcombe, who was described as a celebrated beauty.
Whoa.
And whose former suitor...
Her value. That's one of the few times that's a not her value.
Whose former suitor would go on to be a very famous writer himself, Oscar Wilde.
Whoa, she has great taste.
There you go.
Florence.
And he used to make her suits. Is that right?
That was her suitor.
Huh.
I like the name Florence.
Me too.
Really
I don't
cute.
like the name Belcombe or whatever it was.
Is Belcombe?
Belcombe.
I mean, I could be mispronouncing it. It could be Belcombe.
But yeah, Florence is great.
Florence is
Belcombe is... I think Bell and Cum are both great by themselves.
Florence Bell, great.
Yeah.
Florence Cum,
Love
even
it.
better.
Yeah.
Florence.
But Florence Belcombe, it's clunky.
Nah,
it's
it
no
is.
good.
You're right. When he's right, he's right.
So they got married, Stoker and Belcombe. They would go on to have a son named Noel.
Oh,
Noel Stoker.
Actually, I haven't said it out loud. It could be Noel Stoker. I'm not
It's
sure.
Noel. Noel.
And the married couple moved to London after Stoker left his Dublin castle job, which he'd been working at for a decade at this point. In London, Stoker became acting manager and then business manager of his friend, the aforementioned famous actor Sir Henry Irving, and his Lyceum Theatre, a post he held for 27 years. Henry Irving himself was known as an actor-manager because he took complete responsibility of the shows. Supervision of sets, lighting, direction, casting, as well as playing, of course, all the lead roles. Mm-hmm. For season after season at the West End's Lyceum Theatre, and he was very successful and very famous. And kind of in Stoker's lifetime, this is what he's most well known for, being the manager of someone who is very, very famous. Now, Stoker's duties as manager included writing letters, sometimes up to 50 per day for Irving, as well as travelling worldwide on his tours. According to Bram Stoker's estate again, Bram's public-facing position, he also served as a de facto social host for the Lyceum's high-profile guests, led to his acquaintance with many of the leading figures of his days. So he met and hung out with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Wow.
Alfred Lord Tennyson. Also Lord and Lady Randolph Churchill, who were Winston Churchill's parents.
Yeah, I think, did you tell me this recently that he grew up in like a manor, like basically a castle himself?
Like unbelievably big house. If you Google image Winston Churchill's family home, it's like Downton Abbey.
Wow.
His mum was a socialite and his dad was also a political person, yeah. So, but and his parents hanging out at the Lyceum Theatre, they know Bram. And from the American tours, when Henry Irving would take the show on the road, he met Mark Twain, Walt Whitman, Theodore Roosevelt, and Buffalo Bill Cody.
Wow. A lot of big names there.
So yeah, he's pressing the flesh with some famous people.
Pressing some flesh.
But as the manager or assistant to this very famous man.
I want to see the Avengers version of this, you know? I love it when there's a team up.
Me too. I think that's awesome.
And I'm getting pretty bored of Avenger things. Mm-hmm. Or, I haven't seen one in a while. I reckon this is the way to bring it back.
Well, you get Mark Twain, you get Winston Churchill's parents, Theodore Roosevelt, Buffalo Bill, all together.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bill's, like he's probably the Archer guy.
Yep.
And then you got, Mark Twain's probably Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. Winston Churchill's parents, maybe one of them, two of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Fantastic Two.
Yep.
Yeah. You get Oscar Wilde in there. Fantastic Three.
Good one.
You find someone else.
Yeah, Lord Tennyson's playing The Thing.
Yeah.
So he's hanging out with these famous people, managing this theatre for many years. All the while he kept writing on the side. His first novel, The Primrose Path, was published in 1875 when he was 28. It was serialised in 5 installments in The Shamrock, a weekly Irish magazine. It took a while, but he followed it up with The Snake's Pass in 1890, 15 years later. And he had 2 novels.
It did take a while.
It did take a while, didn't it?
Books take a long time to write, let me tell you.
And he's got a day job, I guess.
True. Yeah. And it sounds like a pretty active, pretty busy day job.
Yeah, a lot of it is on the road too.
Yeah. 50 letters a day, that's like, that alone, I was like, poof. I don't think I'm applying for this job.
He should siphon a few words off each letter and put them in his book instead.
Yes.
You know, the superfluous words.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't need that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
check that.
Take that off.
That can be a new chapter.
Yeah, I'll take that comma, put that over in my book.
I needed one of those.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, we don't understand how writing works.
His boss is reading the letter back going, there's no commas in this.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. So in 1895, he had two novels, including The Shoulder of Shasta. But 2 years later, in 1897, he published the novel we all know him for, Dracula.
Wow.
For the novel, Stoker compiled extensive research and assembled over 100 pages of notes, including chapter summaries and plot outlines, and it's believed it took 7 years for him to write this one. There are many theories as to what inspired the character of Dracula. Robert McCrum writes for The Guardian. Which is
Sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you there. How do you feel about McCrum?
It does sounds McCrum. It does sound like my crumb.
McCrum.
Which I like.
Yeah.
Robert McCrum.
McCrum, and it's spelled
Robert McCrum.
McCrum.
It's spelled capital M, 2 small C's, capital R.
Oh,
You went,
McCrum.
Yeah.
I don't know if that affects
Sounds
it.
like his name's Robert.
Robert.
Yeah. It sounds like you've named your crumb Robert. Robert, my crumb. So good to see you again. Like someone who doesn't have many friends.
Someone has a pet crumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got heaps of friends. I've got my crumb, my toaster. So many friends.
So many friends. I'm very busy.
A very expensive fridge. Got the kids
Yeah,
working
I
in the
got the
basement.
best fridge.
What'd you get? The smeg?
So McCrum writes for The Guardian. Stoker was inspired by his devoted service to the great Shakespearean actor Henry Irving. The idea of the vampire as a silver-tongued aristocrat like Count Dracula is mirrored in Irving's thespian mannerisms and his fascination with theatrical villains. So many people say that he based it a bit on his boss and his boss's portrayal of the baddies in Shakespeare. And also the fact that he's off stage as a smooth operator.
Right.
But I also heard that a lot of people like Irving was a dick
Okay.
off stage. Bit
Bloodsucker.
arrogant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he is, of course, said to be inspired by a previous topic, as you already mentioned, Vlad the Impaler. Vlad's full name was Vlad III Draculae, or Dracula with an E on the end, meaning that he belonged to the House of Draculesti. But it is debated by some scholars how inspired he was. It could have just been a name that he pulled from a textbook, from this area of the world that he based the story.
Right.
Even though Vlad the Impaler obviously did have a very fearsome reputation
Yes.
as someone who would impale enemies.
Yep.
There was also the influence of the time, again from The Guardian, McCrum. The literary culture was obsessed with crime, ghost and horror stories, all steeped in exotic sensation and jeopardy. Popular literature in the late 19th century saw a cluster of very famous novels that produced new kinds of gothic monster. Robert Louis Stevenson wrote The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, about the splitting of the self in 1885, and H.G. Wells wrote about the invasion and destruction of London in the War of the Worlds in 1898. So that's the sort of era, these same decade, these stories are being written.
And I bet you there were like people from the generation before going, it's just everything these days, monsters.
Oh, come on.
Let's have some real literature.
Let's have some romance.
Yeah.
Like we used to have in the 1850s.
Exactly. When people could write a book. Not this pap.
And before that, people were reading Jane Austen going, what the hell is this bullshit?
Yeah, yeah.
Where's the monsters?
Despite its influence and status as the archetypal vampire, Bram Stoker wasn't the first to depict vampires in English novels.
What
Unbelievable.
the fuck?
I thought it must have been the first. But no.
I feel lied to by you, Dave.
I know, I have been spreading misinformation about this for many years at this point. But I'm here to come good and tell you the real truth.
I'm here to come good.
I'm here to McCrum good. Previous to this, vampires that sucked the life of their victims appeared in different folkloric traditions around the world. There's some in Europe, China, the Caribbean, all over. This idea of a creature that comes and sucks the life force out of people, whether it's blood or Jess motioning with her head to Matt while he's not looking.
I thought he was looking, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
I was hoping to make the joke about him to him, you know, but instead it felt mean because he wasn't looking.
What were you saying? That I'd suck the life out of you? Is that the joke? Oh, that's not very funny.
Sucks the joy out of a room, tell you that much. Nah, that's me again.
So it'd be hard to say which culture produced the first vampire story, really, because there's a lot
Yeah.
competing. But the very first literary vampire first appeared in 18th century poetry before becoming one of the stock figures of Gothic fiction with the publication of John Polidori's The Vampire in 1819.
Okay, that's hard to dispute.
Vampire spelt with a Y-R-E.
Ah, yes.
I like that.
Vampire.
Oh, yeah. Is that how you say it, Dave? Vampire.
Vampire.
Yeah. I assume so.
I assume so as
And
well.
new structure. We just get to say what we want now.
Yeah. And that's the new truth.
We
New truth.
don't have to research shit.
And we don't take feedback.
Absolutely not.
No feedback
I'm
here.
turning off the comments.
Normally, we're very open to it.
Yeah, normally we're very receptive and we take it really well. It never catches us in a vulnerable moment where maybe we're feeling a little fragile.
Oh, no.
Never ever.
Wish I had read that, especially on YouTube. Oh, my
I
God.
wish I had read this on my wedding day. Why are you in the comments on your wedding
I wish
day?
I had read this on my wedding night. Sorry, babe, give us a second.
I was already feeling pretty glum.
Just reading some YouTube comments from 5 years ago. I missed them somehow. Don't worry, I'm catching up now.
I've got the feedback flop, as they call it.
So, John Polidori's The Vampire. This was taken from the story told by Lord Byron as part of the contest where Mary Shelley came up with Frankenstein as spoken about on the #1 block episode of 2024, The Year Without Summer. What an inspiring
Wow.
weekend that was. The first
Wild.
vampire story comes out of it in English literature, and then also Frankenstein.
Whoa.
Amazing. Pop culture experts, Sir Christopher Frayling. That's how open they are with knighthoods now. A pop culture expert is now
Yeah,
going.
yeah. You're a sir, for sure.
Sir Christopher
For your
Frayling.
service to popular culture.
I dub thee Sir Christopher Frayling.
I guess if you're an expert in popular culture, you're basically a historian, right?
Yeah, I think it is for, like, historical contributions
Yeah, yeah.
in the field of popular culture.
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, that is a field, but it just sounds funny.
It does sound very funny.
He's the pop culture expert, Sir Christopher Frayling. He described it as the first story successfully to fuse the disparate elements of vampirism into a coherent literary genre. So that's a game changer, The Vampire in 1819. Then in 1847 came Varney the Vampire, which Jackson Bailey introduced me to.
Oh,
He's really into vampires. It first appeared between 1845 and 1847 as a series of weekly cheap pamphlets of the kind then known as penny dreadfuls.
have I changed my name in the group chat to Penny Dreadful?
You are Penny Dreadful.
Yeah, yeah,
Inspired from an episode that I don't think we've even released yet.
yeah. Wow. It was one of the live tours.
Yeah, live in Manchester, I told a spooky tale.
Yeah, and Penny Dreadful was mentioned, and I was like, "That's it."
That's my new nickname.
Varney the Vampire. It's got a lot of Barney the Dinosaur
Yeah,
vibe.
it's so
Yeah.
good. Jackson was saying, like, imagine if that had been the one, and now we're all like, a spooky figure appears. Oh, Varney the Vampire's here.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'm
So
just
good.
writing down Penny Dreadful as a potential name for a sim.
Oh.
Varney? Is that coming up?
Varney spelt how?
Varney. Varney?
Oh, I don't mind that.
What about Robert McCrum?
Robert McCrum
Robert
is,
McCrum's really good.
and it's
Sir
M,
Robert
two
McCrum.
small C's,
Yes.
big R.
Back
Correct?
to lowercase for UM.
Yeah,
Right.
got it. They're all in there.
I think the guy who played Ernest was Varney, wasn't he? Is that right?
Who played Ernest?
Yeah, you know that comedy character from the 80s and 90s?
No.
Ernest.
Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest
Oh,
blah, blah, blah. Like there's a whole...
That's super vague somewhere in the back of my mind, but not. I don't know, but I assume you're right because you're usually right about these things.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
a Varney.
He was It's a great name, but you just
Varney,
don't hear it that often. Varney the Vampire.
Let's bring it back.
The alliteration sort of takes away the spooky element
Yes.
Oh,
Varney the
100%.
Vampire.
Varney the Vampire.
for me. And can I just pull you up on something there, Jess?
Uh-oh.
We were recently recording season 2 of our D&D campaign,
Yes.
which is coming out at the end of January. Very exciting. We had a lot of fun.
I know where this is going.
First episode. And I had to name a horse.
Yep.
So I pulled out my phone. I'd written down a list of potential character names for D&D.
Yeah.
And I was mocked in the room. I was ridiculed.
Yeah.
Only to now discover that you have a list of potential
No,
sim names.
That was a brand new list I
Okay.
just made.
Okay, that's great.
And your names were not Penny Dreadful, which is a pretty funny name. Penny's a good name. Yours were Russell Kitchen,
That's my horse, Russell Kitchen.
Simon something?
Simon Pebble.
Simon Pebble.
Alan
Okay,
Sorte.
that's pretty good. Alan Sorte is ridiculous but amazing. But your list was extensive.
Yeah, I've got a lot of names. That's also a Terry Sharpner, my character.
Yes.
I'm a gnome artificer. I'm a mobile horse mechanic. I will fix your horse with mechanical parts. And I'm Terry Sharpner.
Yeah.
So that's coming up in a new season.
Yeah. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
It was so much fun.
I was telling a friend Amy about this, and she was like, Terry Sharpner, that's fun. Sort of like, because terry cloth is very soft, so he's sort of doing a play on that with the sharpener. I'm like, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I am not operating on that level. That's good stuff.
But now is your opportunity to absolutely take credit that you are operating on that level.
Sorry, yeah, terry cloth. Amy gets it. Finally.
Yeah, finally, somebody gets that deep cut I was going for. And what a funny reference I was making. And now you look really cool.
So if you want to hear the first 2 seasons of our D&D campaign and also subscribe to the new one, I should have said that's on Patreon. If you're looking for it, patreon.com/DugaOnePod. Very exciting. So the Penny Dreadful Varney the Vampire, it ran for a couple of years. It's variously attributed to James Malcolm Rymer and Thomas Peckett Prest.
Oof.
Oh, that's really good.
Write it down.
Yeah, a couple of fun ones.
TPP, Thomas Peckett Prest.
I don't typically do a double barrel surname, but I like it.
I like it. I like it too. The author was paid by the typeset line. So when the story was published in book form in 1847, it was of epic length because they're getting paid per word, basically. The original edition ran to 876 double-columned pages over 232 chapters. Altogether, it totals nearly 667,000 words.
Whoa.
For context, Dracula is about 450 to 500 pages and like a Penguin Classics small type edition, and that's only 165,000 words.
Wow.
So this is like 2,000 pages of Penguin Classic if you want to read all of Varney the Vampire.
Whoa.
Right, and that's maybe part of the reason it didn't take off as
Yeah,
much.
it's just so inaccessible to get your head around.
Yeah.
It's like 2 War and Pieces.
They couldn't have split it up a bit?
Well, I think they did week to week, and then at the end they're like, all right, put it together.
That's massive.
Many of today's standard vampire tropes originated in Varney, so we do have to thank Varney. Varney has fangs, leaves 2 puncture wounds on the necks of his victims, comes through a window to attack a sleeping maiden, has hypnotic powers, and superhuman strength. All these things, Dracula's got those too.
Okay.
And this is much earlier. This is 1847. So whilst Bram Stoker didn't invent vampires, he did, however, introduce, or at the very least popularise, a lot of other classic vampire tropes that we would still recognise today. These are some of the ones that he introduced. Vampires casting no reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Vampires turning into bats.
Oh, yep.
In the book, Dracula can also turn into other animals too, and at one stage, he's a dog.
Oh, that's confusing. Because then at least if it's just one animal, you
Yeah.
see a bat, you're like, Dracula, I know it's you, but if it can be any animal, you'd be sus of every animal, and that's not fair because animals are great.
My 5-year-old Groodle walks in and I'm like, have you been Dracula this whole time?
Are you Dracula?
Are you Dracula?
You have to tell me.
You legally have to tell me.
Yeah, that's the law.
That's the law.
Yes or no? $1 for yes, $2 for no. Yeah, any of those movies or books or whatever where, let's be honest, I'm talking about movies where there's a character, the shape-shifting character. As soon as they appear, you're like, well,
Okay.
you can't trust anything.
Yeah.
They're a dangerous trope to have in. So I think they were smart to bring it back down to just
the vampire.
Just the bat.
Just the bat.
Sorry, just the bat. Yes, and the vampire.
Yeah.
The vampire bat.
Vampire bat.
He also introduced vampires' aversion to garlic and crucifixes.
See, I'm aware of all of these, but the Varney, the puncture holes and stuff, I guess.
And
but
the fangs?
Fangs, yes. But like a couple of the others, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was a vampire thing.
Maybe superhuman strength.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was either. But in Dracula, for example, they say he's got the strength of 20 men.
Yeah, I can imagine
You
them
see
being
Buffy,
pretty strong.
they'll throw people around.
Yeah,
true,
that's
yeah.
true. Okay, maybe it's just going through a window. I was like, oh, is that a vampire thing? So Varney
They fly
can
up,
fuck
like
off.
Bart, when he's a vampire, isn't he tapping on like
Yeah.
Lisa's window?
Oh,
or-
yeah. And in Dracula, like the bat, he turns into a bat and like he can't get through the window because they've shot the window and he just sort of bashes against it because there's a rule in Dracula that he can't come into your house
Unless you
invite him. But once he's been invited, he can come and go as he pleases.
Right.
They use that in Buffy.
Ah, there you go. Yes, I think that he introduced that as well.
There you go.
As well as
Why would you let him into your house then?
I think you wouldn't realise that they're a vampire.
yeah, like he might come to call on you and be a salesman or some description. Or, I'm so sorry, I need a glass of water. Would it be okay? You bring him in. Bang. Hey, I'm going to come back later tonight and I'm allowed to come and go as I please.
Oh, okay. That's sneaky.
Which is why I never invite anyone into my home.
What
Except my 5-year-old Groodle, who's made his way.
Oh my God.
What about sunlight? When did that
Yes,
become a
so
thing?
this is another one introduced by Bram. Aversion to sunlight. In the book Dracula, he can go into the daylight, but his powers are greatly decreased and he can't change forms during the day. So if he's a dog at sunrise, he can't change out of that. Or he
That's
can't
fun.
turn into a bat and like fly away or whatever.
That's
he's
real
stuck
fun.
as he is.
So there's like chapters with the vampire dog just going about town.
Just like, all right, well, I guess I'll go find some scraps for lunch.
Yeah.
I'd love a day as a dog.
One day, yeah.
Just one day.
I'd love to have a day as everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
I mean, they are undead. They can't be killed, these things. Well, they can be. I don't know, we find out that they can be killed, but they don't die a normal death.
Yeah.
So you've got hundreds of years in theory. So you could do one day as every animal, really. You're a millipede, then you're an elephant, then you're a rooster.
Yeah, you do it like that rather than going, I'm a millipede and then I'm a slightly different species of millipede.
Yeah. I'm one of the 400,000 species of beetle.
yeah.
Yeah, mix it up.
I think I've got beetles done.
Yeah, beetles, okay, I've done the beetle.
Yeah.
Beetles are good. Also introduced is blood being a life force that can de-age Dracula. So the more he feeds, the younger he appears. So he starts the novel looking like quite an old man, but then he feeds. He turns up in London and they're like, oh, who's this suave, youngish man?
Okay.
Ooh, who's this suave? Youngish.
Yeah. He never becomes like a teenager or anything, but it's like, he looks like, whoa, you were really old when we met now.
That was invented in Twilight.
Yeah.
Teen vampires.
And they're stuck like that forever, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
And so Edward Cullen has to go to school forever? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
That's annoying.
So they move around, but every new sort of town they go to keep up the appearance of this family.
Oh, they're a family.
Yeah. Well, they're not, but they look like a family.
Oh, right, because a couple of them look older. They pretend to be
They're
parents.
the parents.
Right. Because I have seen the Twilight movies. I quite enjoyed them. But I didn't realise that bit that he's got to go to school all the time.
Yeah.
Forever.
I didn't even realise he went to school. The only thing I've seen, maybe it was just a photo there in a forest. So I just assumed it all took place in a forest.
No, it takes place in a school for some parts.
There you go.
Well, they live in a very nice house.
Yeah. They're wealthy.
They're rich.
Yeah. But the dad is a doctor.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
The vampire dad.
Vampire dad's a doctor.
Yeah, but they're also like superhuman undead people.
Superhuman.
Human. And they don't sleep. Is that right? They never go to sleep. That would suck.
And
That
I
would
just
suck.
imagine just like you put money in the bank account 17 centuries
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
It's just
Interest is
been
incredible.
Accruing.
Yep. Yeah, the interest, yeah. I mean, I can't do the math, but I reckon you'd have $15, $20
Yeah.
a year.
Every year.
I think so.
Sure,
And that's
there you
yours
go.
to spend as you want.
Oh, I'd be careful.
No, once you take it out, I think the interest stops. So it's got to stay in there.
Yeah. Can't touch your money.
But you can look at
You
it.
can look at it. That's really
You
nice.
can go in and visit the bank and say, can I have a look at my $20?
And they say, yeah, it'll cost you $3.
Yeah, all right, worth it.
Worth it. So Dracula is, did you know this, an epistolary novel? So it's told in like found documents, completely told in diary or journal entries, letters, and then there's a couple of transcripts of newspaper articles.
Oh, I did not know that, actually.
And I have to say, I was a bit skeptical about that. I was like, oh, is this going to get old? They really pull it off.
Oh, wow.
So you hear from most of the characters. A weird thing is that despite being the title character and the one we all know, you never hear from Dracula's perspective. It's all about the people that are combining to try and defeat him.
Right.
Their stories of what happened, and they're all apparently compiled by one of the characters, and that's the document we're reading in order. So it goes from Mina Harker's journal, then it goes to Dr. Seward's diary and all these different notes, and then it might be like you hear about, a weird story of a ship arriving and everyone's disappeared on the ship except the captain is dead, but he's tied himself to the wheel of the ship for some reason. And then in his diary entry, he explains that there was a weird figure on board and that everyone started disappearing, and the only animal that's alive is a dog that runs off the ship, and you never see the dog again.
Wow.
And that's Dracula as a dog.
Oh, okay.
This sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand.
I
If you
actually,
ever cover it on Book Cheek, can I be on?
I actually loved it. I gave it a full 5 stars.
Ah.
I thought it was, because I was a bit like, what's it going to be like? I thought that because it's like, it's a game changer for the horror genre and and vampires, but that's been redone so many times over the decades. I thought it might look quite hack,
Yeah.
even though it is so inspirational. But it's awesome. It holds up. I really loved it.
Yeah, I can totally understand what you're saying about like going into that going, oh, this is going to be a bit tedious.
Yeah, diary after diary, but it's
Yeah.
really good.
Oh,
the way
that's
it's told, and it
great.
jumps between the characters. But nearly everyone else gets diary entries except for Dracula. And I'm like, where's the count? Honestly, maybe he's just a little bit misunderstood. It's a little bit biased.
That's true.
Just saying.
I think that, when you watch a TV series and there'll be one episode where they've tried to be a bit more arty in whatever way, you're like, this is going to suck. And nearly it always does.
Yeah,
they
it
try
always
for
does.
something, which is fair enough, but I'm like, I like this show for...
Exactly. You're onto a winning formula. You're up to season 8 for a reason.
Yeah. Let's not do something
Let's not
different
do
now.
the found footage thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only Murders in the Building did it was basically like that, only it was all cameras. Everyone had a camera, so they did an episode from everyone's perspective. And it started, and I'm like...
hidden cameras and stuff. Yeah.
Right, but there was one episode of that show that there's a character who's hearing impaired, and the whole episode was silent.
Interesting, yeah.
That was really well done.
Yeah,
I
that
thought.
was well done.
That was really cool. So Stoker's working title for the novel in manuscript until a very few weeks before publication had actually been The Undead. And then at the last minute, changed to Dracula, as we all know. A play script version of Dracula, or The Undead, was performed as a read-through at the Lyceum Theatre, where he was the manager. On Tuesday, the 18th of May, 1897, only 2 paying customers came to see the play, but it wasn't actually considered a failure. The only reason they performed it at all was to establish copyright of the story.
Oh,
So they got a date with, hey, we performed this live, got the copyright. It proves that this is when it was written.
Great.
So they were being pretty... Yeah, they were pretty confident they were onto something.
I'm not sure if he did this with lots of his novels. And because he had access to the theatre, I think that it was just easier for him to do. The story had a prologue, 5 acts, and then 40 separate scenes. Not a lot of rehearsal, so I'm not sure it was worth seeing anyway. But once it's performed...
Imagine being one of those 2 paying customers. I was there. What?
Is there an intermission?
Yeah, I got to go.
People are like, this sucks. No, this is going to be one of the biggest classics of all time.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, good luck to you.
Completely agree.
Yeah, in 100 years, people will definitely be still talking about this. As if. As if.
1897, that year's when the VFL,
Wow, do you think
which is now
that's
the AFL started.
the correlation?
Could be. But isn't that interesting that it just feels like those things happen at different times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that one of the 2 people was so bored in there that they created a new game in their mind and then they went out and they founded what would have become VFL?
We can't prove that is not what happened.
Yeah, even though the game had existed for quite a while before the competition, but you would know that from episode 2 of this show. I'm sure you remember that pretty well.
Episode 2, why is the AFL so famous?
Yeah.
Every topic we do.
Why is this so famous?
That is basically...
Why are the Spice Girls so famous?
Yeah.
Let me tell you. According to Mental Floss, he asked his friend and boss, the famous actor Sir Henry Irving, to appear in Dracula, like the reading. But he reportedly refused, saying the script for Dracula or the Undead was dreadful.
Okay.
So he read
Penny
it. He
dreadful.
didn't get it.
It filled him with dread. Is that what it means?
Yeah. It made him feel, this is so scary.
Yeah.
I can't possibly say this out loud.
Yeah, I'm too spooked.
So he gets the performance, he's got the copyright. The first edition of Dracula appeared in bookshops 1 week later in May 1897, priced at 6 shillings in a print run of some 3,000 copies bound in plain yellow cloth with a one-word title in simple red lettering that had to be amended at the last minute because he changed the title to just Dracula. It had good reviews and people liked it. Arthur Conan Doyle, who obviously had met at some stage, wrote to Stoker to tell him, quote, "How very much I have enjoyed reading Dracula. I think it is the very best story of diablerie, diabolical stuff, which I have read for many years."
Oh, that's very nice.
And his mum liked it. Charlotte Stoker told her son that no book since Mrs. Shelley's Frankenstein, or indeed any other at all, has come near yours in originality or terror.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
Thanks, Mum.
lovely. And was Conan Doyle, he was famous in his life, so that would have been a bit of a thrill to get that
Yeah, getting a
feedback
letter from
him.
like this. He's
Yeah.
a bestseller already, yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And the mum, what's she done? Why is she even
she
having
was
an
a
opinion on
socialite.
this?
No, wrong one.
No,
she
Protestant family is all we know about her.
Yeah.
Was he like, yeah, why are you telling me this?
Don't care.
How many books have you sold?
Your opinion means nothing to me. Shut up. Are you proud of me? I don't care.
I don't care. Why are you even? Why do you think you can even talk to me? I help this guy act at a place.
Okay. I'm important and busy, Mum.
And then on the side, I write
Piss
this book,
off.
which is like you say, it's great, but obviously, fuck, Mum. Fuck,
I'm going to my room.
Mum. Oh. Nah, thanks, Mum.
Nah, I love you, Mum.
That was
Means
too
a
much.
lot.
Sorry
Actually,
about
really
that.
nice.
I've got a lot of, things flowing through me. Science, I don't know if it's caught up with it yet, but I'm having a late puberty. How old am I again? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You can go through late puberty anytime.
Yeah.
And as many times as you want.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Because it sucks. But if you want to do it.
You had a late one?
I've had 3 or 4.
Really?
Yeah. Gonna fit in another one.
Yes. Just got to find the time.
Yeah, just got to like, where have I got that gap in the sketch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. How do you bring it on? Is it an incantation?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just check the Do Go On calendar that we've all shared together. It just says May, Jess's puberty.
Yeah.
So you're unavailable that month.
It's penciled.
#5.
It's penciled. No, I'll still be coming to work, but it's gonna suck for you.
Yeah, okay, right. You can have some feelings.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of cry screaming.
Cry screaming. We'll just fade your mic down that bit. We'll barely hear it. Just be in the background.
I'm gonna call you both Dad.
So 3,000 copies come out. Some people read it, and the people that do like it, it gets good reviews, but it wasn't a huge hit, and it did not make Stoker famous or rich.
Sure, but he did something great. People liked it.
People liked
that's
it.
Nice.
You know, a great writer, Arthur Conan Doyle, said, "You're onto something here."
That's awesome.
It was actually outsold by a novel called The Beetle,
Okay.
written by English writer Richard Marsh and released the same year. In the book, a shape-shifting ancient Egyptian entity seeks revenge on a British member of Parliament, which sounds pretty sick.
Yeah.
And it outsold Dracula 6-1.
Whoa.
So that was much more famous in its day. You know, The Beetle.
Of course, that classic novel that we've all heard of.
What I'll be doing soon on Bookshed, I'm sure. Stoker continued on writing and published 6 more novels.
Oh.
So in his lifetime, it's just one of his novels.
Yeah.
He remained working for Henry Irving for over 30 years, or nearly 30 years, I should say, until Irving's death in 1905. And sadly, all good things must come to an end, and Bram Stoker himself died 7 years later in London on the 20th of April, 1912. His cause of death is debated, possibly a stroke or maybe syphilis.
How old would he have been?
Stoker by name.
Oh, that's good stuff. Matt, that's really good.
Stroke my name, banging people. What's his game?
Yeah.
Syphilis, maybe.
Syphilis,
Maybe.
something like that.
He was 64 years old.
Yeah, okay. Back then, pretty good innings.
All right, not super old, not super young. He was, and I think it's part of it's debated is because in his lifetime, there's not that many records about what he did day to day because he wasn't a superstar.
Yeah.
He wasn't super famous. And now there are people who are like Stoker experts, but even then I read them and I'm a bit like, well, that bit contradicts that bit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right. Yep.
When he died, his obituaries emphasised his geniality, his long-term friendship with the actor Henry Irving, his association with the power brokers of the day because he knew a lot of famous people, and only in asides, the 19 books that he wrote.
19
books.
Write one more.
I know. But
Or ditch like 4 of them.
Yeah. Did he die knowing that? Like, he could have whipped one out on the deathbed.
yeah, quick.
Just
A
get
novella or something.
Get something out.
Get something.
Your syphilis is really playing up, mate. You just got to get something out.
Get on, quick.
Dracula was scarcely mentioned specifically at all. It's just like one of his 19 books. In 1912, the year of Bram Stoker's death, his wife, Florence, commemorated her husband and his now famous book with the ultimate tribute by contributing her recipe for Dracula salad to a recipe book compiled by the local parish church.
Oh,
That's beautiful,
that's so
Flo.
nice.
That's really nice.
Yes.
That's how Bram would have wanted to have been honoured.
Yeah.
And
With
I
a
hope
salad.
if my husband's listening and I'm gone, honour me with a salad.
Yeah.
The bop salad. What's the secret ingredient?
Oh, you don't want to know that.
You'd think like a cereal would have been more like an all Bram or something
Yeah.
would have been more appropriate. But when did you know how it's known as Bram Stoker's Dracula? That's what it's always called.
Yeah.
Is it? Are you going to talk about that at some point?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
great.
that's from the 90s film.
Right.
Which we will talk
Gotcha.
about, yeah. When we get to those in just a second. 1914, his widow also published another short story collection called Dracula's Guest and Other Weird Stories.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's so good.
I don't think she's quite as good at coming up with the titles,
No, Dracula salad.
but at least that rounds him
weird-
up to 20.
That's 20.
So I'm okay with that.
21
no
if you
more.
include the salad. Not sure how long that recipe was.
Yeah, true. Well, it depends. If it had like a long preamble about what the salad means to
Summerhood
to
in
flow.
in the country.
So
Summerhood.
Probably quite long.
Just let me say that. I appreciate that.
I liked it. Summerhood.
Yeah, I think I meant to say childhood in the summer, but
Summerhood's good.
Summerhood and the child
Summerhood
works
in the
well.
country. Summerhood.
But apart from Dracula Salad and this, short story collection, Other Weird Stories, people weren't really talking about Dracula. So how did the novel take off to become one of the most well-known stories ever written? Well, the answer is mostly film.
Yeah.
There's a couple of now lost films that depicted Dracula in the 1920s, and in 1922, German director F.W. Murnau made a silent expressionist film based on Dracula. However, it was an unauthorized and unofficial adaptation called Nosferatu, a symphony of horror. To get around the copyright, various names and other details were changed from the novel, including Count Dracula being renamed Count Orlok, then finally Nosferatu, which is an archaic Romanian word that is used in Dracula. So one of the characters, Van Helsing, refers to Dracula as being a Nosferatu.
Oh, I see.
So it came out as this dodgy copy. Hey, we've changed enough. We can call it something different. We get away with it. It also introduced the much-copied vampire trope of the main character having to sleep all day as direct sunlight would kill him. Mm-hmm. Remember, in Dracula, it only weakens his ability. So it also did take some tropes forward that we all know now.
And probably for budgetary reasons as well. They're like, we can only do night shoots, so...
Yeah.
Well, daylight, that's hard to light, in a black and white film.
Hard
get
for,
it right.
Hard for continuity.
Yeah. We'll just do it all at day. Do it all at night.
And so Van Helsing, who's someone I've heard of, because I think our very own Hugh Jackman played him, right?
Yes, in the movie Van Helsing.
Our very own.
Is that a character that Bram Stoker came up with as well?
Yeah, so that's one of the characters he's like the main expert on vampire lore, and he's like sort of the vampire hunter. So what happens in Dracula is he's this old count living in Transylvania, and this guy called Jonathan Harker, who's a lawyer, goes over to this mysterious castle, and on the way, there's all these people being like, don't go, and he's like, well, that's weird, but they keep making the sign of the cross at me anyway, and he goes there, he's a solicitor, because Dracula wants to buy a mansion in London and move to London, and then when Harker gets there, he realises, oh no, I'm a prisoner here, all the doors are locked, and then some spooky stuff happens, but he eventually tries to escape, and then the Count comes to London, where a series of people that know each other experience him in different ways. That sounds sexual.
Experience, yeah.
He does start drinking the blood of this lady called Lucy, and then her friend is a doctor who's like, I'm not sure what's going on. She seems so weak. I need to get an expert on this. My old teacher, I'll bring you. He's the Dutch guy called Professor Abraham. I just realised that he put his own name as the coolest character, Van Helsing, who turns out is like, he understands what's going on. No one else knows. And he's like, I think it's a vampire, and this is the only way to kill vampires. So then they go on this series of missions to try and catch out Dracula during the day after he moves to London, because during the day his powers are weakened.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's just their battle against this very, very old undead man who is moved to London essentially to try and every person he bites, that's part of the thing, they become a vampire.
He's recruiting.
Yeah, he's recruiting. So and then their very own, so Lucy unfortunately passes, and then another one, Jonathan Harker, who does escape Castle Dracula. His wife, Mina Harker, she also gets bitten.
Mina Harker.
That's
going on the list.
Yeah.
Mina Harker.
For them, it's a personal race against time, because they've got to, if they kill Dracula before she dies, all the stuff goes away, but if he's still alive when she dies, she becomes the undead as well. So it's this personal race.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, and it's very exciting with a thrilling conclusion, which I won't give away, but it's great. So that's the story of Dracula. Then they take Nosferatu. It's a very similar story, but they changed some of the names, a couple of location things. They thought that these represented a defense against copyright infringement. They're like, we've changed just enough. However, the original German intertitles acknowledged Dracula as the main source. Probably shouldn't have done that, because Stoker's heirs sued over the adaptation, and a court ruling ordered all copies of the film to be destroyed.
Oh.
However, a few survived and has become a cult classic and is regarded as an influential masterpiece of cinema and the horror genre. Even if you haven't seen it, if you Google an image of Nosferatu, you'll probably recognise.
Okay, yes. I'm picturing it in my mind right now, I reckon.
Yeah, his big pointy ears, sort of white, sort of scary face, washed out.
Yeah.
Matt's looking it up now. I want to know, is this the same Nosferatu you're imagining?
So if I just Google the word Nosferatu?
Yeah.
All right.
Because like Dracula, there's also been several adaptations of Nosferatu itself, including one coming out, I believe, in 2025.
Ah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Spooky.
Spooky.
That's good stuff.
In 1995, this is a little side note, the Vatican included Nosferatu on a list of 45 important films that people should watch.
What?
Which is so wild to me that in the 90s, the Vatican were like, let's put together, some movies that we like.
It's kind of like when Obama used to like make a list of songs he liked.
He still does it every year. Yeah.
That's one thing.
So they asked Pope John Paul II, hey, what are your 45 best movies?
It's like, okay, Nosferatu, Die Hard.
Well, some other ones on the list include Citizen Kane, 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Wizard of Oz, On the Waterfront, and Schindler's List.
Okay.
Anyway, Nosferatu.
Made the list.
There are a few sort of religious ones that I didn't recognise, but it's interesting.
All those ones you said are just like, they're on all those lists.
Yeah, just classic movies that we should all watch before you die.
Yeah.
But Nosferatu from 1922 made the list of essential Vatican viewing.
Wow.
Anyway, in 1931, an English-language film called Dracula was released by Universal, who had bought the rights for $40,000. It was the first adaptation with sound, and the title character was played by Hungarian actor Bela Lugosi, who had played Dracula in a stage production in 1928 and 1929 from a script adapted by Hamilton Dean and John L. Balderston. Writer Hamilton Dean was Irish and entered the theatre as a young man, first appearing in 1899 with the Henry Irving Company. Henry Irving, of course, being the actor that Bram Stoker managed, and he had long thought of adapting Dracula and contacted Florence Stoker, Bram's widow, and negotiated a deal for the dramatic rights. American playwright John L. Balderston then rewrote it for an American audience. I'm not sure what they changed. When it made its way to Broadway with the then unknown actor Bela Lugosi playing the lead role of Dracula. And despite his critically acclaimed live performances on stage, Lugosi was not Universal Pictures' first choice for the role when the company optioned the rights to the Dean play and began production in 1930. He was eventually cast after nearly every other character actor in Hollywood was considered.
Wow.
And they were eventually like, well, this guy's already doing it.
I guess he already knows the lines.
He knows it.
Yeah, it'll save us some time.
The film was a major hit, but Lugosi was paid a salary of only $3,500, according to his wiki page, since he had too eagerly accepted the role. He didn't negotiate.
Okay.
He was desperate to be in Hollywood.
Yeah, sure. That sounds great. Thanks.
$3,500? Yeah. What's this going to be a big hit that people talk about for several decades? Shit.
Damn it.
I've just Googled Bela Lugosi, have a look at him, and an article came up of this sort of goth couple who've gone to his grave. And she's wearing, she's got purple hair, and I think she's wearing fangs. And then look at this photo of her lying. Isn't that bizarre?
That is bizarre.
Lying next to his plaque on the ground, sort of like claw marks, making claws with her hands, going like, oh.
Yeah,
on
she's
top
definitely
of his,
wearing fangs.
top of his
right.
plaque. The ultimate tribute.
Yeah.
Hang on. Trevor, this is what it says underneath. Trevor and I were in Los Angeles last month. We always get a thrill from visiting a special location and styling ourselves in ways that reflect the mood. Perhaps you remember when he styled me as Issey Miyake and vintage couture at the San Francisco Conservatory of Flowers.
Of course. How could I forget?
How could I forget Goth Trevor?
Trevor is... I read the whole paragraph, but really I just wanted to say Trevor. Yeah. Goth Trevor is fantastic.
Goth Trevor.
Write it down.
I was going to say that.
That's a good sim name.
Trevor Goth?
Trevor Goth.
There is actually a Goth family.
Really?
Yes, they've been there from The Sims 1.
Cousin Trevor's come to town.
Great. Trevor Goth.
So Lugosi he played the role in the film. He really cemented the idea of what Dracula looks and sounds like in popular culture. Did he come up did you look at Bela Lugosi's Dracula?
Yes, yeah, classic.
He used his own accented voice, which became the voice you probably think of when you imagine Dracula speaking.
Sure, okay.
Kind of the I want to suck your blood type thing.
But that's not what it sounds like.
No.
What would it sound like?
I think it might sound a little something like this.
I want to suck your blood. blood.
Yeah. Thank you.
He also introduced the long black cape and the turned up collar He also had this slicked back black hair that you probably imagine too. So he became like the archetypal on-screen version. But it was missing one thing. According to NPR, Lugosi refused to wear any makeup that would obscure his face. He declined to play the original Frankenstein for the same reason. He's like, I could be Frankenstein with this face. So Lugosi's version of the Count never had fangs. So her wearing fangs at his graveside, that's actually quite hack.
Trevor, come on.
Trevor, what were you thinking?
Trevor's a terrible stylist.
Yeah.
Right, so because he was obviously like, this is a perfect face.
Yeah.
Let's not fuck with perfection.
Yeah, come on.
Even teeth, though, like even fangs.
He counted that as part of his face.
That's all part of my face. My perfect face.
Look, I've got lovely teeth.
Yeah.
He's an El Natural.
Yeah.
I've been flossing,
No braces.
I've been flossing since 5. The film was a hit and brought the image of Dracula into public consciousness. Lugosi was unfortunately typecast afterwards and really struggled to break away from the role.
And it only made $3,500.
Yeah, and it was a huge hit too. He played a few vampires, but officially only Dracula once more in the 1948 comedy spoof Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Okay.
Love a good spoof.
It's pronounced spoof.
Oh, is it?
I believe so, Dave, yeah.
Gosh, never heard that word out loud before.
Never
Lugosi
spoofed out loud before.
never. Okay, that got me.
It's pretty easy to get you, to be honest.
That's true. Lugosi's portrayal of Dracula established the character as a cultural icon, as well as the archetypal vampire in later works of fiction. He was so associated with the character that when he died in 1956, he was buried in the Cape costume,
That's nice.
which Trevor would have experienced.
Trevor's works with La Camina, and they've got a career. Can you do an episode on La Camina at some point?
Like a featuring Trevor.
She's been on CNN, National Geographic.
All about just dressing up for locations.
I don't know.
Okay.
She's passionate about traveling all subcultures.
Nice.
All of them.
Yeah.
You know what that means, though. There's some pretty crook subcultures.
She hates cultures, but she's all about subcultures.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
Submarine culture?
Ugh, I'm not into that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So he was buried in the Cape,
Yep.
although this wasn't his request, but an idea by his wife and son. I've also read at least one source say this was against his will. He didn't want to be buried in it. Which I can imagine he was typecast as this role for like decades afterwards.
That wouldn't feel super
And
nice.
now it's like, yeah, put him in the Cape. Put him in the Cape. That'd be funny.
He's dead. What's he going to do?
And basically, from there to present, there has been at least one pretty commercially successful portrayal of Dracula each decade in film, keeping the character in each consecutive generation's consciousness. He's never far away from pop culture. So it's sort of a self-fulfilling thing that every generation's like, oh, yeah, like you say to a 5-year-old Dracula, they probably know vaguely what that is.
You say it to a 95-year-old, they're like, yeah, I knew him.
Yeah. I went to school with Dracula. Great guy.
Great guy.
Great guy.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, really.
Very pale.
Another iconic portrayal came in the 1950s from previous report topic, Christopher Lee, who fixed the image of the fanged vampire in popular consciousness. He wasn't afraid to put the fangs in.
Yeah.
Put a bit of makeup on.
Yeah.
He didn't think he had a perfect face. He was
So Bella thought he had a perfect face.
well, that was Jess's assumption when he said, I won't wear any makeup.
I thought it might have been like, he's like, if I'm going to be in the movies, you know, I need people to know that I'm in it up to get the next gig. I don't want to just be the monster guy.
All right, like if you wrapped up in toilet paper as the mummy or something, it's like, well, who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
Yeah. Brendan Fraser did the same thing.
Don't have any brand
He refused
recognition.
it. Exactly.
Yes. Lee also introduced a dark, brooding sexuality to the character, with English journalist Tim Stanley stating, Lee's sensuality was subversive in that it hinted that women might quite like having their neck chewed on by a stud. Tim, is everything okay?
Tim, are you all right?
Bit of projection there. Tim.
Yeah, maybe they like it.
Yeah. What a stud. Lee went on to portray the Count in 6 sequels in the 60s and 70s,
Wow.
all produced by Hammer Films, and he played the character 9 times in total. A couple of spoofs as well. And this included the 1976 French comedy horror Dracula and Son, because yes, the great man Christopher Lee did speak French.
Of course.
He's like, yeah, I'll be in your French movie, dubbed. Oh no, I'll just do
I'm
it.
good.
I'm good.
I'm okay, thanks. Thank you. This is a very sweet offer, but je m'appelle Chris.
Je m'appelle Chris. Oui.
Dave, did you know that Bela Lugosi was in Murders in the Rue Morgue in 1932. Another one of your old book cheat episodes.
That's true. The first horror story, some people say. Or the first mystery. No, the first mystery. But with horror elements, which we won't spoil. Even though, as discussed on the episode, the cover of the book that I got spoils the twist straight away.
That's right.
Completely ruined. To suck you in, you're like, it'd be weird if they had that on the cover. That wasn't anything to do with the story. Anyway.
There must have been a second twist coming. No, that's it. All right.
In 1972, the blaxploitation horror film Blacula was released and became one of the top-grossing films of the year and inspired a wave of blaxploitation-themed horror movies. So it's also different genres. There's comedy elements. Some people play it up for being very, very scary. So there's another way people are accessing it on different levels is, he's funny, but he's also scary sometimes.
Yeah, it's more accessible because I'm not watching anything scary.
When I was a kid, there was a cartoon called Count Duckula.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I can picture Leslie Nielsen as a Dracula.
Yes. That's coming up too.
Okay.
That's coming up too. Because there was a brief dip in star power for the Count in the 1980s where Dracula rarely appeared in films outside of nostalgia-themed works like The Monster Squad or Waxwork in 1988, and that was when they had a bunch of different monsters together.
That's so funny. It's like, quiet decade. It was only a few movies that it was featured in.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the leading man. There was nothing called Dracula on the poster. But the character was brought back to the mainstream following the 1992 release of the Francis Ford Coppola-directed film Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is what I think you're probably thinking of.
Yeah, I just thought at some point, like, they needed to put that on for some reason, but it was just a movie is why
I have heard one of the Dracula experts that I listened to on a BBC thing say that part of that was it's called Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's to give it an air of authenticity because it claimed at the time that this is the most close to the original text, this one. And the expert was like, it absolutely is not.
Right.
But it makes it feel like, it's not any Dracula. This is the Dracula from Bram himself. Also, Francis Ford Coppola. It stars Gary Oldman as the Count. Oldman's portrayal of the Count won him a Saturn Award. Of course he nails it. He's the best character actor in the biz.
It's very good.
And inspired new staples to the character such as long hair and a more prince-like appearance opposed to the Count-like one.
Can I tell you something about Gary Oldman? Because you guys said to watch Slow Horses. So I haven't watched heaps of it, but I've seen a few episodes. But one of the best things he says in it is he's really, like, he's this grumpy old character who, like, basically hates but secretly loves his team.
That's right. He's always there for them, really.
Yeah, but he's like, he hangs shit on them all the time. And they're not quite following what he's saying. And at one point he goes, oh, God, catching you lot up's like explaining Norway to a dog.
We quote that a lot in my house.
I thought that was so funny, explaining Norway to a dog. Good stuff, Gary.
He's great in it.
He's great at everything.
Yes. So he was very popular in it. The film was a critical and commercial success and inspired a small wave of similar high-budgeted gothic horror romance films that were released in the 1990s.
Horror romance.
Horror romance.
Horror romance. That sounds like... I can imagine his character in Slow Horses saying, horror romance.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So I can't possibly go through all the portrayals of Dracula because there's hundreds, like I said, but this is a list of actors that have played the Count on film.
Okay,
it's quite amazing. So we've already had Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee, Gary Oldman, John Carradine in the 1940s, Frank Langella, who starred opposite Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing.
Wow.
Leslie Nielsen.
Yep.
In the Mel Brooks spoof Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Okay. Dead
So
and Loving
funny.
It. It's very funny.
It was apparently bombed at the time at the box office. It's the last Mel Brooks directed movie, but so far.
Spaceballs 2's
Yeah,
coming
like,
out. Is he
Last
directing it?
directed.
Yeah. Finally 1995, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So Men in Tights was just before that, was it?
Must be.
Oh, shit. Okay.
But I don't think he did very well at the box office at the time, but it's become a cult comedy classic since.
Right.
I haven't seen it, but I'd like to watch it.
Yeah.
Now I've been in like Vampire because it spoofs all the Dracula tropes that I've been talking about. So that sounds funny. There's then also Gerard Butler in the hilariously named Dracula 2000.
Oh, my God. That sucks.
A Wes Craven movie. It's what if Dracula was set in the year 2000?
Yeah.
Dracula 2000. So good.
There was some funny in the 90s where everyone started getting obsessed with the idea of 2000.
Yeah.
But
And then 2000 rolled around. It was fine.
Okay.
The Olympics were fantastic.
But then you're 3 years into the 2000 and you're like, oh,
yeah,
this seems outdated so bad.
yeah.
Like Fergie, I'm so 2008. You're so 3000. Like, it's like, well, Fergie, now you're so old.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
It hasn't
babe.
aged
Yeah.
that well. Dominic Purcell plays him in the Blade films. Not the only Aussie, Richard Roxburgh played Dracula opposite Hugh Jackman in the Van Helsing movie. Also, David Niven in another 70s spoof. Luke Evans, Adam Sandler in the Hotel Transylvania films.
which
that he
they
voices.
would totally be like kids of today. That would be their reference.
Yeah, because they're really popular. They're like huge box
There's
office
like
successes.
4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, and they're all carved up at the box office. Jonathan,
Sandman.
how would the Sandman say, I want to suck your blood?
Oh, I want to suck your blood. I don't know.
But then he'd start yelling.
Yeah, he's,
Give me the blood!
Who's one?
You know, when
Yeah.
he gets shouty.
Yeah. He seemed like a kind of voice that would be easy to do, but it was hard.
I think you were doing a really good, 90s Adam Sandler.
I loved it.
I think he's
loved
slightly
it.
less weird now.
You know that Count Dracula? I keep getting distracted by something. That was a show from 1988 to 1993.
Sorry, I didn't say there are any popular 80s productions, but of course, Count Dracula.
But the guy who played Count Dracula is like he's like Touch of Frost guy, Del Boy. from
Only Fools and Horses. Yeah. What's his name?
His name
David
is
something?
David Jason.
David Jason.
David
yes.
Jason.
He's also a knight.
That's terrible.
That's his stage name. His real name is Sir David John White.
Wow.
What a funny.
I didn't know
Yeah.
he did that. He can do it all.
So you've chosen a new surname as a stage name and you've gone for Jason.
David
Jason.
I'm David Jason.
That's terrible.
You Jason?
David White's better than that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it must have been
Another actor or something.
So
yeah.
just like Whitehall or something,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or David J. Whitehall.
Yeah. Yeah. Not David Jason. That's silly.
It's not a good last name.
It's
is
not
it?
a good last name.
You know that I guess the version of Dr. Van Helsing in the duck version is Dr. Von Goosewing.
That's cute as shit.
I reckon they started there and then worked backwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers played the character, and last year, pretty recently, our man Nicolas Cage in the film Renfield.
yeah.
That's one of the. I think that might be the only one I've seen on that whole list.
Oh, right. I haven't seen that one either. Was it good? Was he a good Dracula?
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was really fun.
Nicholas Hoult in that as well?
Yeah, he's the Renfield guy.
Yeah.
And so Renfield is a character in Dracula.
Uh-huh.
He's like he's a patient in the mental asylum next door to the house that Dracula takes over.
Okay.
But also something weird about Nicholas Hoult is he's in another Dracula movie that's coming out in 2025,
Oh.
possibly as the Count himself.
Wow.
So it's weird in a couple of years to be in 2 separate Dracula adaptations.
Yeah.
But there you go.
And he's also he's young the Beast from what's it called?
X-Men.
X-Men.
Ah.
He becomes Dr. Fraser Crane when he's older.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I haven't
Cool.
seen the X-Men movies.
Me either.
I thought you were a big Marvel type, but more your MCU.
Yeah, I like the Avengers and that kind of universe.
Yeah,
I've watched
they're bringing them together.
Yeah, I should do it.
I'd be keen to watch that. I loved the cartoon.
I wasn't
growing up.
inviting you.
I'm
You can
telling
watch at your house.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
I'll watch at my house.
You never invite me around to your house.
There's a cartoon series that came out last year or the year before, which is based on the old one. It's called X-Men 97,
Oh, cool.
which you might enjoy.
Had the best theme song. Diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle, diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle, diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle. Does that ring any bells?
No.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I wonder if they use. I think they use that in the movies, maybe.
Oh, do
an updated
they?
version.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it probably has some tie to a really old production that I don't know about, but I don't even know the 90s cartoon. But I loved it. It was great fun. Cheese TV, I think.
Classic.
Dracula has permeated all forms of culture, both popular and scientific. In 1964, artist Andy Warhol directed a silent film called Batman Dracula that stars Jack Smith, who plays the roles of both millionaire Bruce Wayne and Count Dracula. It was made without the permission of DC and screened only at Warhol's pop art exhibits. But he's been on screen with Batman. He's also fought Frankenstein and Billy the Kid in the movie Dracula vs. Billy the Kid, which has the tagline, "The world's deadliest gunfighter, the world's most diabolical killer." Spoiler here, Billy wins.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
What, uses wooden bullets?
I think
Silver
there's...
bullet.
Yeah,
No, that's the wolves. The Lupin?
there is something about that where he uses a special weapon to kill him because he realizes his gun's not working. Dracula has popped up all over the place and appeared on all manner of TV shows. Scooby-Doo, The Simpsons, Buffy, which was mentioned, Doctor Who, and Gilligan's Island, to name but a few.
Wow.
Gilligan's Island. So when they said "and the rest,"
They mean
that
Dracula.
includes Dracula.
Interesting.
Possibly his most famous tribute on TV began in 1972 when Count Von Count debuted on Sesame Street, who is a direct parody of Bela Lugosi's portrayal of Count Dracula.
Of course. One.
Yeah. So good.
He's so cute.
So cute.
He's a great character. He's probably the best character.
Yeah, he's got to be up there.
Yeah.
Oh, so many greats. Kermit, of course.
Kermit.
Oscar the Grouch.
Miss Piggy.
She's not on Sesame Street,
No,
mate.
I know, but when you think about it, do you think you and I have a bit of a Kermit and Miss Piggy kind of vibe?
Yeah, which one's which?
I'm Miss Piggy.
Like, I'm Kermit the Frog.
Because you're sweet and nice, and I'm always yelling at you.
Miss Piggy is not self-aware.
True. I barely am.
And in the animal kingdom, there are multiple animals named after Dracula, including a species of parrot, a fish, and even a type of dinosaur called the... God, I'm going to have a crack here. Brady Cinememe? How do you say CN? Brady Cineme. That's better. Brady Cineme Dracula.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
I like it.
And here's one for who knew it.
Okay.
Australia has an arachnid that uses large fang-like pedipalps or pincers to grasp invertebrate prey and crunch it into pieces before sucking out the juices.
That's a bit full on.
Named for this method of dispatching victims and after Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula, its scientific name is Draculodes Bram Stokery.
Oh, wow. Wow. We got both in there.
That's good. All right, is that an official...
Draculoides Bram Stokery.
Is that an official submission?
Yeah, put it in. Well, the question would be like, which of these species is named after?
I've used a few of your questions you've given me.
The velvet frog,
Yeah.
which I discovered was the nickname of was it Mel Torme?
Mel Torme,
So
yeah.
I messaged Matt when I was like, man, you got to use this. This guy's nickname is the velvet frog.
The velvet frog.
So the Draculodes Bram Stokery, the type of arachnid, it's technically not a spider, but it's not it's one of those ones. It's not technically a scorpion. Anyway, it's very rare and only 5 millimeters long, so you're not going to get bitten by it. It's tiny.
Oh my God, imagine if that one that was falling down there before.
Whoa! Fortunately for me, it's known to inhabit 6 caves on Barrow Island and 2 on Northwest Cape in Western Australia. So it's only in these very specific places.
Okay.
Dracula has also appeared in a bunch of pornos,
Of course.
including the...
I want to suck your cock. That's gotta
It's
be
right
it.
there.
That's gotta be it.
including 1969's, nice, Dracula in brackets, The Dirty Old Man.
Wow.
And it goes for exactly 69 minutes.
Yes.
Nice. That's hot.
This time...
That's so hot.
That's so hot. That is the hottest amount of time I've ever heard.
In 1978, another movie came out called Dracula Sucks, aka Lust at First Bite.
Ooh.
And the tagline is, this time the Count is not just going for the throat.
That's good stuff. Lust at first bite. Come on.
I like it because they're leaving us there's a little of the imagination there. What else apart from the throats are you going for?
Yeah, what else are you going for? Dracula?
Dracula? Excuse me.
Answer me.
Where have you gone? Dracula, come back here.
Dracula also appeared in the early hardcore pornography film Dracula and the Boys, also 1969, as the first homosexual vampire in film.
Huh.
Dracula and the boys.
I think it's gone on to be its own sort of subgenre.
Nice. Gay vampires.
Yeah.
Nice.
Vampires? There's nothing gay about vampires. Come on. Jeez.
We haven't seen Dracula and the Boys 1969.
This is woke culture gone mad. They're making Dracula gay now?
The original manuscript for Dracula was thought lost, but it was rediscovered in 1980 in a barn in northwestern Pennsylvania.
Wow.
It's kind of a long way from Dublin. Actually, no, it would have been written in London. The manuscript still is a long way, a barn in northwestern Pennsylvania. The manuscript differed from the original text in several ways, including a different ending, where Dracula Castle is destroyed after his death in a volcanic eruption. But that doesn't happen. Missing the first 102 pages, billionaire Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen paid an undisclosed sum for the manuscript, where it resided in his private library, which I feel really good about.
Yeah, I think that the system works.
Great, now no one gets to enjoy it, except this one billionaire. Awesome.
Imagine what he's doing at it. You know what these billionaires get up
Oh
to.
my God.
Probably forgot he has it.
It's probably using it as like a serviette each
Yeah,
page.
he doesn't give a shit.
Who cares? Yeah, toilet paper, whatever.
Yeah. Toilet paper.
I really hit tall there, didn't I? I heard it straight away and I was like, she's going to pull me up on this. She can't let this go.
I tried. There was a pause.
Nah. I paused because I thought, go on, have a go.
Toilet.
I said toilet paper.
Toilet.
I've got to go to the toilet. I swear I don't usually sound like that. I
Oh, no,
misspoke.
I gotta go to the toilet.
Oh, we're out of toilet paper.
Oh, no.
God, I'll have to shower.
I'm in the toilet.
Oh, oi.
Occupado, I'm in the toilet, all right? I had an Uber driver recently who I'm like, do you talk to this like this to all customers? Because he would say fucking every fourth word, fucking, and he was really keen to tell me exactly where the Sri Lankan restaurant he enjoyed was. He's like, nah, it was fucking, it was a great cuisine and fucking great value as well, actually. It was $35 a head, all you could eat. Fucking so fantastic. I reckon he says toilet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a great restaurant. They keep the toilets really clean,
Yeah,
man.
beautiful
really clean
toilets. If you go, check out the toilets
Yeah,
for
make
sure.
sure. Don't go at home. Use their toilet.
Hey, save it up. Don't go all day. Go enjoy their toilets.
Spend a good 15 minutes on the toilet.
He was great value. I enjoyed his work, but I'm like, I wonder if like he's picking up an international travel from the airport.
Yeah, fucking.
Is that someone's arriving from Oxford or something?
Yeah.
Is
Hello.
that how they're being introduced?
Oh, fuck. You're staying in fucking Carlton. That's a fucking great place to stay. You'll love this
Beautiful.
log on fucking
Oh,
street.
so many fucking parks out there. It's nice and fucking green.
Yeah, you're really close. The tram, a couple of stops, you're on the free fucking tram zone.
Yeah, you can walk to the fucking city from there, but like, you don't need to. You got everything you fucking need in Carlton. Beautiful spot. My nan still lives in Carlton.
Oh, yeah, but I wish I could get there. But I'll bloody price out the fucking market.
Fucking market.
There was a bit of a blockage on the road because it looked like there was an accident, but as we went past, it was just two guys talking, and he goes,
Talking.
"Oh, just having a fucking talk, are we, mate? Just having a fucking talk." Pretty good.
That's
great.
good stuff.
So just finally, Dracula has, of course, been translated into many different languages, probably nearly anyone you can imagine.
Okay. Klingon.
Probably.
Simlish.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Nerds.
But that actually, in conclusion, brings us to a suggestion put into the hat by Gregory Gritman, who we recently met in the UK whilst we're on tour. Hello to Gregory. In 1901...
Or I think isn't it Gary Gritman?
You called him Gary Gritman.
I kept getting his name wrong, but he didn't. I don't think he minded.
I think he minded a lot.
It's just from now on, it's just a nickname of mine for
Yeah,
you.
it's fun.
That's right. Beautiful.
It's an in-joke you two share, and that's beautiful.
And all the American listeners listening should take a leaf out of Gregory's book, who's from New York but recently moved to the UK. We're having trouble touring the US, but we're in the UK, so like maybe it's just easy if you're all just to move to the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Move your
consider
whole
it.
life.
Consider it.
We had some Boston people who flew into Dublin to see us.
Yeah, a couple of separate groups, which is
So-
cool.
So, maybe that's just the easier way of doing it. Or why don't we just do all our shows in Melbourne and everyone comes here?
Just come.
Yeah, actually, that'd be good for us.
That's really easy.
I like traveling, but man, it's so much easier just to do it in Melbourne.
Yeah, you can like still travel home after a
great.
show.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice.
Take the tram
You
back.
take the fucking tram.
You got heaps of fucking tram
Oh,
options.
if you'd use your own toilet.
It did not even sound weird to me when you said toilet. How would you say toilet normally?
I'm going to go to the toilet.
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 Hit the toilet.
Let's not dwell
you add
on
an R into
toilet.
it.
Toilet.
Toilet. No. Yeah, like adding the R into the no.
So in 1901, the book was translated into Icelandic by Vladimir Amundsen.
I trust that man to do it.
Yeah, sounds right. It was published in serial form in Icelandic newspapers and eventually published with the title, I'm going to have another go at this, Makt Merkrana, which translates to The Powers of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what many read in Iceland for years. And in 1986, the translation became known to English-speaking Dracula historians when it was reported by a guy called Richard Delby that the whole edition was introduced by a preface claimed to be written by Bram Stoker himself. So this bit was also in Icelandic and it was translated back into English because they were like, oh, we found this new document from the author himself. That's pretty cool. They translated it back. Delby, however, didn't translate the rest of the book back into English. Why would you bother? We've already got it in English. And neither did any other English-speaking expert on Dracula. Copies were and are available for consultation in a dozen Icelandic libraries and a few foreign university libraries. But Delby's appraisal that Powers of Darkness was merely an abridged translation of Dracula was never questioned and made its way into various bibliographies. It sort of became like, oh yeah, he also had a version translated into Icelandic. He did a preface for it, so it was all official, blah, blah, blah.
Ah.
But then in 2014, Dutch author and historian Hans Corneel, even better than this, Hans Corneel de Roos, decided to look into decided to look into the Icelandic translation and discovered something very shocking. It was a different story.
Oh, wow.
So people in Iceland for years
They've been
thought
reading
that
a different one.
Yeah.
To quote from the Smithsonian, many of the characters had different names, the text was shorter, had a different structure, and it was markedly sexier than the English version. It also, this is according to Roos, is better. He says, although Dracula received positive reviews in most newspapers of the day, the original novel can be tedious and meandering. Powers of Darkness, by contrast, is written in a concise, punchy style. Each scene adds to the progress of the plot. That's de Roos's opinion. So it took a century for anyone to notice that they aren't the same book and in many ways are quite different. And there are theories as to what happened. One of the theories is the Icelandic guy, Vladimir, who was translating it, changed the story as he was going along. Being like,
punched it up a bit.
no, I'll change this. Which is my favourite theory because it's so funny to me that a guy just rewrote it to how he thought it should go.
Yeah.
Like, no. Cut that character, move this end bit to the middle. That's way better.
I don't know the Icelandic words for all of these.
Yeah.
I'll write it like this.
Just crossing it out. Cross. There's another theory that perhaps Bram Stoker provided Vladimir with a first draft of Dracula that he chose not to use for his own version when it was published in 1897, and that's what he translated.
Right.
And that makes some sense to some people because Bram has written the preface to it, but also he doesn't speak Icelandic, so he wouldn't have known what he was introducing. It also may have been based on a serialized version in Swedish that was first published in 1899, and someone in Sweden may have had taken their own liberties, and then once it got to Iceland, they translated from Swedish into Icelandic.
Like a telephone.
Yeah, and it just becomes this different story, and it takes over a century for people to notice, hang on, this is a different story. And in some people's opinion, it's better. But we'll never probably know what happened. That's right, it's a mystery episode.
Whoa!
Happy New Year, everyone!
What a way to start a new year.
What a way to with questions.
Yeah.
And the mystery is just that thing that you brought up a minute ago.
Yeah, that's the mystery. Yeah,
I mean, it's a mystery episode if we're talking about the last minute.
if we're talking about the last paragraph.
It's a mystery minute.
You said the episode was about why Bram Stoker's Dracula
Yes, I
became
hope I
famous.
sort of answered that question. So basically, the answer is that it became this very famous movie. That's where it started, and then that was quite a big part of popular culture. And then every decade since, there's another movie, and then it also permeates other parts of popular culture. So you can't really avoid it. Like if you're a kid, you see it on Sesame Street. Now you see it in Hotel Transylvania, and then it just becomes this thing that everyone knows. To the point that now, if you type the word Dracula into an iPhone, like an emoji comes up. I can't think of it. I tried Sherlock. I tried Frankenstein. They don't have emojis, but like he's so everywhere. Like in 2025 that he's an emoji.
He is sort of almost one and the same as just vampire. He just becomes
the vampire because he had like these famous portrayals, and then it just has permeated every other part of popular culture. And now we all it's shorthand for vampire.
And if people are interested in other parts of vampire stuff, yet like Dave said, we did talk about it in a previous episode. The vampire panic, New England vampire panic.
Yes.
I talked about how some of it came from real life stuff. Like they actually believed people with wasting disease, aka what was that called again?
Consumption. Tuberculosis.
Yeah, tuberculosis. People thought they maybe were.
And wasn't there a thing like
vampires.
they dig up the body and then their gums had receded?
Yeah,
because that just happens naturally. And they think, oh my God, their teeth. Look at there's something happened to their teeth.
There's these thoughts that they were coming out and going back into the ground, and they would,
which is what happens in Dracula.
Stake them through the heart with wooden stakes to keep the bodies down.
And that becomes shorthand for this is how you kill a vampire.
Well, that's a theory anyway. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so and also Vlad the Impaler, also the episode that we did recently about the Year Without Summer or Christopher Lee, all these topics. Or if you want to hear the full story of Dracula, the episode's recently on Book Cheat. So yeah, we can't get away from it.
We're becoming the Dracula podcast network.
We are.
I'm about to ask a question about a Dracula spider on Who Knew It.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can't be stopped.
There's got to be a primates crossover between Dracula and some sort of monkey man or something.
Yeah, there's got to be.
We'll cover that too, and then we've all bases.
Well, that brings us to everyone's favourite section of the show, where we thank some of our fantastic Patreon supporters. If you want to get involved, go to patreon.com/DoGoOnPod. There's all sorts of stuff you can get involved in there. You can vote for topics. 2 out of 3 topics on each cycle are voted for by our Patreons. You also get, on certain levels, you get 4 bonus episodes a month. We've just recorded our next campaign of D&D, which will start later this month. And all sorts of stuff. Anyway, go to patreon.com/DoGoOnPod and get involved. People who support the show, they're the reason this show keeps going. I mean, and you listening as well, I should say. You're doing a great job. But
it's a team effort.
If you got
and we do the least.
If you got cash spare and you want to give it to us, we'll use it.
Yeah.
For good.
That's right.
Not evil.
Mm-hmm.
That's our promise.
That's our plan.
As soon as Google stopped saying that, we started saying that. Don't be Google.
That's our motto.
That's our motto.
So yeah, there's a bunch of different things you can get involved in, different levels. One of those levels, the Sidney Schoenberg level, gets you into the Fact, Quote or Question section of the show, which actually has a jingle, I think, goes something like this.
Fact, quote or question.
Ding, 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 ding.
He always remembers the ding. She always remembers the sing. And the way this one works is you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question. You also can give us whatever you like, a brag, a suggestion. It could be anything at all. You also get to give yourself a title.
Wow.
And first up this week, we've got one from Tamara Potts. What a name. That's a great name.
Great name.
And Tamara Potts has the title of Ambassador of Dreams Coming True.
Whoa.
Did you say Vambassador?
Drambassador. Bram, I meant.
I got what you meant, and I was like, yeah. Oh, hang on, Brambassador of Dreams Coming True. That's bloody lovely.
Tamara is offering a brag, writing, after decades, all caps, of having the ridiculous, unachievable dream of being a famous author, I can finally say that I sold a book in the US in a competitive 6-house auction.
Whoa! That's awesome.
That's a big deal. Auctions are commonly only between 2 or 3 houses. I normally say I haven't read ahead, but I feel like I've read this before. I haven't read this to you two.
Nah.
No, I think I've read a 6-way auction. That sounds amazing.
So good. The book is a young adult murder mystery set on an escape room reality show.
Ooh.
I co-wrote it with a friend who's already pretty famous, which really helped with the whole auction thing.
Bram?
Matt, the last time you came to Perth, you actually answered some of my questions about podcasters for a different book still being written. If that one gets published, you'll be in the acknowledgements for sure. I'm still in shock that I've managed to do this, but also so happy that I can now afford to up my level of support on Do Go On.
Yes, the system works.
It was one of my must-dos if I ever made any proper money from writing. This podcast has been a joy in my life, and I'm so grateful for the 3 of you.
Oh, congratulations.
That's awesome.
And good on you for sticking at it, like chasing the dream for decades. It's amazing.
6 different publishing houses fighting over you too.
Wow.
Must have felt like the bell of the ball.
It's going to feel good.
Stop it.
I don't know. What are you going to offer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually hate that. That means you have to say no to 5. These are like, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for wanting this book.
I'd totally pull a Bela Lugosi and they'd say $40 and I'd say, sold. Good. And then your manager's there being like, shut up. There were 5 other people in the room.
No.
Shut up.
Thank you so much, Tamara, and congratulations. Next one comes from Rupert the dog. Oh, this is I've met Tamara. I've also met Rupert. Rupert's title is Dog.
Important title.
And
Important dog.
Rupert's offering a recipe. This will be interesting. Oh, no, sorry. Sorry. Had something in my throat there. Rupert writes, I reckon there's not enough recipes. Here's one of my favourites. If you are a regular at a brewery, they often have an excess of used up grain that has already been malted. These can be mixed with just a bit of peanut butter and egg or flaxseed and flour, shaped into biscuits and baked on low heat until dry and crispy.
Whoa.
You can try this recipe at Co-Conspirators in Brunswick. They're kept on the bar in a jar that says dog biscuits. Rupert, thank you so much.
Wow.
That's great.
It's a great bar there too.
I forgot it was from a dog.
Rupert's
dog
dog's
biscuit?
owner, Cam, runs a monthly comedy group there as well.
Rupert. I've seen photos of Rupert. I'd love to meet
Rupert's
you.
a huge dog.
I'd love to meet you, Rupert.
Well, you should talk to Cam about doing his room in this year.
Get me
And then
in.
you can meet the
if
dog.
Nothing else to pat Rupert.
Just about the dog.
And possibly Cam if you're up for it. Love to scratch behind you.
If you've been a good boy.
Thanks so much, Rupert. Next one comes from Tess Chilcott, aka Mayor of Tidesville. Night shift doesn't prepare you for motherhood at all, and is offering a question. Writing, what is a name you answer to without thinking? My name is obviously Tess, but growing up, I answered to Claire. My mum is one of 4 girls, the youngest being Claire. Often Grandma, my mum, and my other aunts would yell, Claire? Oh, Oliver? Wait, which one are you? My cousin Oliver and I were once in a shopping centre minding our own business, having a fun time, when someone screams, Claire, Claire! We both immediately stopped talking and walking and turned around to say yes. It was a mother yelling at her daughter, not related to us.
I'm sorry, my son is also named Bort.
Fun fact, well, this is a stretch. My aunt bemoans this as proof she was a maligned child constantly being yelled at by her big sisters. Also, I laughed when Matt called my daughter Margot Lois, currently 4 months old, still a redhead, Margaret Lewis.
So close.
I still don't know if I'm saying Margot Lois right. Anyway, my partner has had to be proofread whenever he writes down her name on official documents. I caught many errors on her birth certificate before it was sent off. She is currently Margot, double T, on our private health, which is a mistake. Thanks for all the laughs. I needed them as the mother of a baby who believes day naps are for the weak.
Yeah, that's a strong little Margot.
Yes.
For now.
Thank you so much, Margot. Margot and Tess.
So the question is, what name do you
Oh
answer
my
to?
God. Yes, that's right. My brother Tom, I'd do
Yeah.
still.
My brother Michael.
Or any name. Anyone.
I would answer to Michael or Karen.
Karen?
Same thing. I have an auntie Karen that I apparently look like. So all of
You do look like a Karen.
all of Mum and her sisters will go, Jess,
Wow.
all the time.
Matt, it's funny you say any name because you won't even respond to your own name. So
No,
that's fine.
I would say when I can see them talking to me, I won't correct people.
Oh, okay, right. Oh, I would never correct someone. My gosh.
Nah.
I'd be that name forever.
But I don't respond to anyone shouting out a name because if I hear Matt, I just assume they're talking to a different Matt. Unless we're in a small place, and it's me and
Right here, like a podcast
if someone
studio?
in this room said Matt, I'd answer to that.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, checks out. I'm not sure if I have any names that there was a fish and chip shop that thought I was called Steve for years. I guess
Yeah.
that's one because I misheard on the phone and I was like, all right.
That's a big miss.
Yeah, I'd also be Jeff for that same reason.
Max.
Max would happen a lot, yeah.
I think these are all improvements of our names.
Yes.
What do you mean? Karen?
Steve, Jeff.
Michael?
Jeff.
Because I'd get told off. It'd be Michael, Jessica.
Yeah, me and Tom would. Matt.
Yeah.
Matt Tom. Because we've also got the letter that links them so that they didn't have to break stride.
Keep it
That's
going.
nice.
Thanks so much to Tess, Rupert, and Tamara. The next thing we like to do is thank a few of our great supporters. Jess normally comes up with a game based on the topic at hand.
I was thinking how Dracula will kill them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's
okay,
great.
right. So maybe they changed the law a bit. Be like, this is a new thing.
Yeah. Dracula's going to kill all of these people. But
Okay.
how?
How?
Yeah. So he's put corks on the fangs, or he's ghosted
No,
it.
he could fang him.
Oh, maybe he's going to fang them all.
He could fang him.
All right, Dave, you're the expert, so maybe you should be doing that.
Okay.
Yep.
Jess, I'll read out the city, you read out the name.
Sounds great.
All right, first up, I'd love to thank for your support from Tacoma in Washington in the United States.
It's Rachel Dial.
Smothered with a pillow.
Yeah.
Because it's real specific how you can kill Dracula. But
He
he
could
could
kill you
you
anyway.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
He's real strong
There's
as
another
well.
character in the book. I won't say which one because I don't want to spoil it unless you want to hear the book where I do spoil it. He just kills someone with his bare hand. Like he just throws a guy. He gets really injured and then he breaks his neck because he's so strong.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, I'm not going to even bother eating this guy.
Yeah.
That's full on.
Rachel
And
Dial. And Rachel's got die in her name. So
Whoa.
So that's how she's dying, or that's how she's killing Dracula? That's
No,
how
that's how
Dracula's
Dracula's killing Rachel.
I feel bad about that.
But we don't
Rest
know
in
when,
peace.
Rachel.
Rest in peace.
It might be a mercy thing when you're like 150 and you're like, please.
Yeah, and it's actually quite humane.
Dracula, please. I'd also love to thank from Hallett Cove in South Australia.
Ashley Watson.
Hit in the head with a discus.
Yep.
Oh, that's bad.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Did Bram?
Impactful.
Because Bram wrote
He was a great
Dracula
athlete.
and he could throw a discus,
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah, it was an Olympic mishap. A very bad one.
Ashley, thanks so much for your support, but all good things must come to an end. So, but we appreciate you. I'd also love to thank from, it looks like Joliet, but I want to call it Joliet. Joliet from Illinois in the United States.
Joe Campbell.
Infected paper cut.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's not a good way to go.
I know you got to attend to these things, Joe.
Yeah, you can't.
Sorry.
You can't take infection lightly. You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta
Even
be
the
serious about it.
smallest one.
That's going to be so painful.
Yeah.
And you know what's the worst part is? Got the paper cut from the book Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
Dracula came in,
Oh, it's
Said,
its
"Oh,
own book.
saw it on the shelf and went, oh, one of mine.
Oh, yeah.
Little paper cut.
And was Joe like, I don't understand. How are you real inside and outside the book?
What's
How are these
happening
two
here?
universes the same?
Yeah.
He just left.
Left with a lot of questions.
Pretty rude.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'd also love to thank from Parkville here in Victoria, Australia.
Thea.
Thea, I'm afraid, I don't want to say this, but it's a flamethrower.
Oh, yeah. And Dracula says, see ya, Thea. He's played by, in this version, he's played by that English guy you like.
Statham.
Statham. See ya, Thea.
Okay, because the impression before was closer to toilet than Statham, but yeah, you're right.
Statham would never say toilet.
Thank you so much, Thea. What a way to go. I'd also love to thank, even closer to home, right here in Brunswick in Victoria.
Eleanor Mola.
Choked on
Mola.
a big bit of peanut butter.
Oh, wow.
Crunchy?
And
Crunchy or smooth?
but Dracula did that too.
That one was an accident. He was just serving up.
Too much peanut butter.
Few. He was using peanut butter like a dip, which is obviously weird, but
Delicious, but
Yeah.
weird.
He doesn't, does his taste buds, are they also undead?
he doesn't eat.
Yeah, there
Doesn't
you go.
eat at all.
So he wouldn't know.
He doesn't know.
It's been so long since he had to eat.
Yeah, that's why he went, here you go, here's a big bit of peanut butter. And Ellen's like,
This is what you weirdos like, isn't it?
okay,
Food.
thank you.
I hope Eleanor was an anaphylactic. If I'm using that right. I'd also love to thank from Pascoe Vale South. Geez, also not too far from here in Victoria, Australia.
Harrison Lodwick.
Pushed into a volcano.
Whoa,
Oh.
that'd be a pretty cool way to go,
Original
actually.
manuscript.
Yeah, he came over and said, hey, look at this. Just lean over, have a look. Push.
And
Got
it wasn't active, but the fall was still quite big. Thank you so much, Harrison Lodwick. Man, the names this week are brilliant as ever. I'd also love to thank from Murfreesboro in Tennessee, I reckon, in the United States.
Jesse Cooper.
Roller coaster accident.
Yeah.
That wasn't an accident.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't Jesse Cooper just sound like you're all American?
Hey, Jesse
Gal.
Cooper.
Hi, I'm Jesse Cooper.
Fantastic. What a great name. Murfreesboro as well, I quite
Yeah.
like. I'd love to go to Tennessee.
Been there.
And how was it?
Amazing.
Yes. From Glasgow in Scotland.
Diane Lawler.
Shoes were tied together and Diane fell over.
Oh, on train
Into
tracks.
a volcano.
Into it, yeah. This one was active.
Oh, no.
Well, that'd be quick. Quick and painful, but quick. Diane, I'm so sorry. But again, this doesn't happen until you're very old. It's a mercy killing.
All of these are mercy killings.
They're all mercy
So, yeah.
killings. Dracula's
You're
going
all
around
living
just-
long, beautiful lives.
Yes.
You're all in like nursing homes.
Yeah, Dracula's actually, like Dave was saying, he's misunderstood in this book. He's actually just very kind.
Yeah. He's the original, pro euthanasia doctor.
Yeah.
Was he a doctor? Count.
Count.
When you said before that Oldman changed him from count-like to prince-like, what's the difference?
There's a difference.
Is there?
Yeah, you don't get it.
I think he makes him smoother, less. I have to admit I haven't seen the movie, but I hear that he's like more of a smoother operator.
Kind of
And that's
suave.
a prince, whereas
Yeah.
a count is
I
a
mean,
slightly
old
different
and
kind of
decrepit.
royal.
I don't know. I don't really know.
okay.
Yeah. I'm glad you picked me up on that because I don't have an answer.
And finally, Dave, do you reckon you can have a look at this? What is this country?
Oh, I think this is Estonia.
From Tallinn.
I think Tallinn is maybe the capital.
Tallinn in Harju in Estonia.
It's Marius Kana.
Marius Kana was killed with a heart attack when the vampire Dracula appeared at the window and went boom.
That'll get you.
Thank you so much, Marius. Again, what a freaking great name with the umlaut as well over the A. Oh my God, Marius Karna. Marius, Diane, Jesse, Harrison, Eleanor, Thea, Joe, Ashley, and Rachel. You are all leaving beautiful old corpses. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Not your corpse's value.
No, but it's worth mentioning.
And the last thing we need to do is welcome a few into the Triptych Club. Now, the way this works is people who have been on the shout-out level or above for 3 straight years get into the club. It's a bit of theatre of the mind. We've got a club. You can get free entry. You're not allowed to leave anyway, but why would you want to? It's the best place on earth.
Exactly.
Dave, you've booked a band. I'll hear from you in a second for the after party, but Jess, you're behind the bar. Have you put together a Dracula cocktail? Blood.
Whoa.
Shots of blood.
And it's very hot.
Yeah, hot blood.
Whoa.
Hot-blooded. I'm hot-blooded.
Yeah.
That song's going to be playing. And Dave, you're
And the
booking a
band
band
playing
for the
that
after party?
song, we make these bands play our set lists.
Yeah.
They don't get to play their own hits.
Of course.
You're never going to believe it. I've booked these bands, obviously, months, sometimes years in advance.
We
to
treat them
schedule.
like a pub cover band. Play Nickelback.
All right. I've booked, you're never going to believe it, Vampire Weekend.
Ooh.
Whoa.
What are the chances?
That's great.
Saw them at a festival a few years ago. Great.
Good fun?
Good fun.
So the way it works is I'm on the door. I'm going to read out 3 names this week. Dave's on the stage. He's going to hype you up with some weak wordplay. And then, hang around, grab yourself a hot cup of blood. Get ready to hear some, what's his name? Ezra Koenig? Is that him?
Yeah, what a name, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Ezra Pound?
No, that's the poet.
Ezra's a great name. All right, so 3 names here. Dave, you ready to hype some people up?
Here we go.
The child is the child
boy.
is granting along. Uh-oh. First up from Happy Valley in Oregon. I want to go there. It's Ryan Brickley.
I started the day, I was crying and sickly. But then I met Ryan Brickley.
That is one of the best you've ever done.
I know, why wasn't that third?
Yeah.
From Oklahoma City in Oklahoma in the United States. Welcome, Jack Vespa.
I'd love to ride on Jack's Vespa.
Yeah. Give
know
us a
that's-
lift.
Yeah, give us a lift. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, nothing weird.
I'm just hyping you.
Thank you.
And finally, from Maylands in Western Australia, it's Emma Vinkovich.
You better not think of it about turning around because we need you in there, Emma. We need you in there.
Welcome in, Emma, Jack, and Ryan. Make yourselves at home. Grab a cup of blood. Let's have some fun with Vampire Weekend. Playing Nickelback. And a bit of whatever that Hot Blooded by whoever that is.
Hot-blooded.
That brings us to the end of the episode. Anything we need to tell people before we head out of here, Bopper?
That they can suggest a topic. There's a link in our show notes. Our website is Do Go On Pod. You can find us on social media at Do Go On Pod or Do Go On Podcast on TikTok, where we are blowing up.
We're
2025, the year of us taking over TikTok.
Yeah.
We're coming for you. TikTok Awards.
Yeah.
I can't wait to take out a ticky.
Yeah.
Come and follow us on the talk and on the gram.
On the gram. Thanks so much. Dave, boot this baby home.
Hey, Happy New Year once again, everyone. We will be back with another episode next week. But until then, I'll say thank you so much for listening and goodbye.
Laters.
Bye.
When I say the gram, I mean Lou Graham. I don't even know who that is, actually. I think he was a singer for maybe that band that played Hot Blooded. Was he? Don't know. Laters.
Don't forget to sign up to our tour mailing list so we know where in the world you are and we can come and tell you when we're coming there.
Wherever we go, we always hear 6 months later, oh, you should come to Manchester. We were just in Manchester.
We were just there, but this way you'll never miss out. And don't forget to sign up, go to our Instagram, click our link tree. Very, very easy.
It means we know to come to you, and you'll also know that we're coming to you.
Yeah, we'll come to you, you come to us. Very good.
And we give you a spam-free guarantee.